Hello, and welcome to the latest Genesis RPG Community Live Play. My name is Ryle, and I'll be the GM for this adventure, the Colossus at Starfall. This game takes place in the Runebound setting, using the Realms of Terrinoth sourcebook and the Genesis RPG system. I'm joined by 4 players, and I'd like to go around the table and hear a little bit about the characters everyone has brought to the game tonight. Why don't we start with Flame? So who's the character you'll be playing in this adventure?
Sure, I'm playing Krot Rolgar. He's a Broken Plains Orc Primalist, basically a druid type dude. He's like a pretty rugged, gruff survivor type kind of character. Definitely knows how to survive in the worlds. Not super accustomed to working with a team, so just kind of getting used to that. He's got some kind of mysterious icy aura about him, and he's got a super fancy looking longbow.
Yeah, I think it's interesting in this setting how, like, the god of ice is also kind of the god of death.
hmm
So, like, how important is that to Croat's, like, am I saying that right? Is it Croat or Crot?
I was thinking Krot.
Okay, sorry.
No
So,
worries.
how important is Nordos to Crot's, like, view of the world?
Well, so the others probably don't know exactly what's going on with him because Nordos worship is kind of what's the word I'm looking
Frowned
for?
upon?
Yeah, frowned upon is good. But he is kind of believes in a different aspect of Nordros. His strength is actually that he's idealistic and basically rather than being like an evil god of ice and death, it's more like a challenge that everybody has to face. Like if you can survive the winter, then that means you're strong. If you're not, then you're weak.
That's a cool take on it. I like that. Well, I think that might segue into Isaac. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about your character?
All right. I am Ker Islun. I'm a lowborn elf mage. I grew up in going kind of city to city, but I'm always on the lookout for any new little bit of information or knowledge that I can get my hands on. And as a result, I have a couple of interesting scars and whatnot from anything from failed alchemical experiments to if you look closely, you might notice a small, almost looks like frostbite on the inside of my left wrist. I have a wand and tend to specialize in magics that can get me doing damage or avoiding combat, as I am, as a whole, rather squishy.
Kind of a glass cannon sort of character?
Absolutely.
I see that, like, he's sort of a cocky character.
Yeah, having lived in and amongst these kind of underbellies of cities seeking out this, that, and the other information that people may or may not want you having access to, Kara has sort of developed a fear of walking into a situation without knowing what's going on, especially being rather glass cannony. If something goes south, he knows that he might not be able to get out of there unscathed.
Okay. And so, kind of building on that sort of secretive nature that a couple of the characters have sort of expressed. Bram, why don't you tell us about your character?
Yeah, okay, so I'll be playing Levitt Bernhardt, who is a human warrior. He's massive when you see him, and he's got a massive halberd and pretty shiny armor, though it's definitely got its fair share of dents and scratches. And Levitt is pretty much your classic, like, big, rugged guy sitting in the corner of the bar, seeming kind of sad, but he's got a lot of stories to tell you if you come talk to him. But mostly he just complains about the world and all the terrible, terrible misfortune that he's going to go on a quest to defeat it all. And if you join him, then you can be part of his crusade to remove all evil from Minara. But mostly he just sits there and looks grumpy in his armor and looks scary to some extent. But he's a nice guy. He'll tell you that anyway. And yeah, he's got some secrets to him. He's got a little bit of a dark past. He, well, was formerly a knight of Kelos, but he doesn't really talk about that much these days unless you really pressure him about it. And yeah, every once in a while, he seems to have a little bit of a fit. And in his local tavern, they know he has his episodes, but they just, that's fine. That's just Levitt doing his thing, and he never hurts anyone. So that's Levitt.
And it seems as though, like, too, he kind of relies on his, like, despite maybe some of his laziness, he's also quite courageous, right? Willing to throw himself into battle.
Yeah, when push comes to shove, the people who know him well know that he'll protect you, and he will forge a path forward no matter what the adversity is. So in an actual situation when there's real danger, when there's a real threat, he's very courageous. Yeah.
And that despite his dark past, which, speaking of tragic backstories, finally, Sheldon, why don't you tell us a little bit about Delanor?
Sure, yeah. Delanor Pacenzi is he's an average human envoy, and he's very. When you lay your eyes upon him, you'll be struck immediately by how beautiful he is, and olive-skinned and dark hair, and very charming, and quite adept with the sword that he carries around with him whenever he might need it. But his life has been marred by this tragic occasion of the love of his life dying and actually being the source of his miraculous heroic ability, which is miraculous recovery. And his the love of his life was a bard, and she contracted some kind of strange and horrible disease, and her and their unborn child were dying, and with her the last of her magical and life energies, she sang him one last great song, and in that song, her life passed, but she gave him this miraculous gift, and he really does love to love. And so he really kind of wants his great desire is to understand how this could come to pass, and perhaps this song could be found again or used to help other people. He is very charming, very well dressed, and I will maybe try to do a voice for him tonight. We'll see how that goes.
So, on a party that maybe at first might have some things in common, but some also from very stark differences. But as often happens in Terrinoth, adventurers are brought together by circumstance and find themselves forming sort of new families and new relationships on the road, which has begun to happen for this group. So that's where we are as we begin. But before we do, let me just quickly have a brief note about tone and sort of the concept of an X card. So if you're unfamiliar with an X card, it's a safety tool that allows players to sort of communicate when a scene has become uncomfortable. And if that happens, just DM me an X. You don't need to explain why the scene is weird for you. Just DM me that X, and we'll move on by either like fading to black or maybe using a single roll to resolve a scene. I don't foresee anything like that coming up, but if it does, we have that safety tool. So let's begin. We find our adventurers crossing the Thelsven Plains in the barony of Kelm. This is a cursed land, and the heroes have had several nights of fitful sleep as the strange sounds and premonitions startle them awake in the depth of the night. They've been hired by the Baron Gilliam Zarls and made deputies of the barony, tasked with an expedition to the edge of the Starfall Forest, where a group of dwarves have made camp. The Baron would like to know what these dwarves intend in his lands, and more importantly, what sort of attacks he can levy on their works. So as we follow these adventurers, it's midday along the Midland Road. Sparse trees are sort of rising up to either side of the hard-packed clay as the plains turn into the edge of the forest here. And the group is sort of like discussing what they might find ahead. Delanor, why don't you kind of talk about what you're expecting as you approach these dwarves?
Well, I don't know, gentlemen, but I think what lies in front of us is adventure, and of course, hopefully money, and perhaps a little bit of appreciation from these dwarves when we come to bring them this news. Yes, I think that might work for us. What do you think, gentlemen? We approach them, with love in our heart, and we say, dwarves, let us help you on your way to whatever the hell it is you're doing.
Not so sure they're going to be excited about the tax collectors coming.
We're going to need to put a pretty impressed spin on things if we want to convince them that they should be excited for our arrival, but I'm hoping that we can at least figure out what they're doing there and not provoke them over much.
I think a bunch of dwarves are what lies ahead. Yeah? So why don't we go talk to him?
Not just dwarves, but ghosts.
Oh, bloody hell, you're right. I hate this place, actually. Why did we come here to collect tax from dwarves? Why don't we just tell the dwarves to come to us? That seems like fair, doesn't it? They come to us. They're here. This is our lands, right?
Frankly, I'm not sure why the Baron cares so much about this place, but there must be something here that he's looking for.
So how about I get a knowledge geography check from somebody? Knowledge geography also kind of encompasses culture in this setting and a little bit of history too. You're welcome to combine your rolls if you'd like. The difficulty will be average.
I've got 2 green in knowledge geography, so I could probably assist someone who might have better int.
Same.
Yeah, I love it. Has 2 green in geography, so...
Can't say I know a ton about geography myself.
Does anybody have more than 2 int? Someone more intelligent than Delanor?
We're all just walking around. Does anyone have more than 2 int?
You guys brought the map, right?
You could make an argument for me using forbidden knowledge here, in which case I would have a little bit more. But it just general geography, I have 2 greens.
Yeah, this check is more for like sort of the history of the area and like what might be interesting about the Starfall. So, but I do think it makes sense for Kara to lead this roll. So why don't you go ahead and make this check? It'll be an average check and a blue die from the other 3 characters. So 3 blue dice.
And it turns out I was looking slightly wrong. It does appear that I have 3 green for geography.
Very nice. Okay.
Starting the night off with style.
Genesys, baby.
3 failures and 5 advantage. So the goal of maybe trying to gain some insight into what might be of interest to the dwarves in the Starfall, really, you've got no luck there. But with those 5 advantage, we can kind of, there's a couple ways to go about it. You can sort of change the narrative, like maybe giving the players an advantage in the upcoming scene or two in some way, or you could spend them to sort of gain other knowledge that isn't directly related to the goal of the role.
I think I would prefer to use them to gain knowledge not related to the specific role. Do I maybe know something about the workings of the dwarves in general that might help as we come across them and encounter them?
Yeah. Dwarves traditionally, they were for a long time sort of the subjects of the dragons and managed to wrest their freedom, centuries and centuries ago. But most of them still make their homes beneath the mountains and in caves. There are some, however, who, like the dwarves of Forge, for instance, who live under the open sky and among the other races. And these dwarves that you're approaching, you've heard, are from the Kingless Coast, which Jedra's Harbor is a major city there on the Kingless Coast. And these dwarves, this particular clan, made their home there some centuries ago. So they have sort of traditions that are maybe a bit different from those who still live in the tunnels beneath the mountains and so on. And also, that they're known for being master craft people, which is true largely for dwarves, but in particular, they have used runecraft to sort of create novel magical technologies, you might say. And so that's sort of where they excel. So I think that would be worth probably 2 advantage for that knowledge.
All right. And in relation to runecraft, I feel like I may know of some runes that are perhaps scattered in the area that might be the thing drawing them to these woods. Be that correct or not. Would I know anything about any particular magical artifice that we would be approaching?
So more broadly, runes, as they're like rune-bound shards, as they're sort of known, were created by the dragons from the stars of Timorin. So these were sort of powerful magic shards of a great sphere that the mage Timorin created. And when it shattered, these stars of Timorin, they contained great power. And during the Dragon Wars, the dragon lords broke them down further and carved them with dragon runes to sort of codify the magical energy into specific powers of each rune-bound shard. But the dwarves long ago had stolen the runecraft of the dragons for their own use. So they're able to work their own kind of runecraft separate from the rune-bound shards. And that is where the dwarves of the Kingless Coast have begun to excel. But it still requires some sort of raw magical essence, essentially, to imbue these runes with power. So perhaps that's why the dwarves are here. So that'd be another advantage, still leaving you with 2.
Can I make a suggestion for advantage? Be just given that there was an element of geography to this. I don't know. This doesn't really have to do with the narrative stuff you were talking about, but maybe he just spots a better way for us to walk. Like we've actually been walking on an nastier path, and that would just mechanically once we get to our destination, it's a better walk, and so we would get a blue dice compared to what it would have been if we had taken the bad trail.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. So this path that you're on was once part of a road, a well-traveled road back before the Third Darkness, back before the Dragon Wars. And this road is still used, but not as commonly trod as it once was. But yeah, I think with your knowledge of sort of searching your mind back through the history books you've read, Care, you remember that often there are sort of byways that sort of pull aside for travelers, campsites that are set aside from the main road, and your eyes set upon a little path that leads up and around, and it'll actually give you a good view. Like taking this other path will sort of give you an advantage in the the next half mile to mile of road ahead. But that would probably, so I think that would probably take those last 2 advantage there. So as the group sort of digests what Care has laid on you, and your feet turn to this other path, you rise up on this little bit of a spur of a hill. And as you do, you see smoke rising from the distance. And coming above this little crest, you kind of get a view down toward the Starfall Forest ahead of you. And it's a thick forest. It has a nice heavy canopy. And below it, the light that shines through dapples across ferns, which grow in abundance beneath the trees there, still some distance from you. Smoke is rising from the Starfall, maybe a quarter mile into the woods, but also you see smaller, like campfire type smoke to the north, sort of around the crest of the hill that you're on. There are smaller campfires, and in fact, you see a trail leading from that down into the Starfall, like the ruts of wagon wheels and so on, leading down into the forest. And just as you guys are all sort of seeing that, could I have a vigilance check from everyone? Average.
Yeah, that sounds like trouble.
Not initiative trouble, though.
True, that's true, actually.
Whoa.
Okay, so only Delanor succeeded, but with 4 threat.
That's amazing.
Kerr failed with no advantage, and then Levitt with 3 advantage, and Krot failed as well, but with 4 advantage. Okay, so there is a whirring sound as something comes crashing through the branches of a tree on this low rise. It's sort of diving directly toward your group. Delanor, with those 4 successes, you see that it appears to be a bird, but it is shiny, metallic almost. And it's whirring and making sort of strange noises, unlike what a bird might normally make. So 2 of those threat, I'm going to have be strain. But with those 4 successes, I think you also note that in some of the low shrubbery beneath this tree, there's 2 other shapes sort of in the bushes. And then I'll apply those 2 threat elsewhere. But then, so those advantage that Levitt and Krot score, like, how would you like to spin those?
Advantages. I'm not exactly sure, to be completely honest. Maybe so we don't actually see that this is happening.
So there's something crashing through the branches, but you don't get a good look at it.
I get a better look at whatever the other shapes are and not at the bird.
Absolutely, yeah. So those 2 shapes are a little bit smaller than Silhouette 1. They're maybe 3.5 feet tall, and moving through the bushes, you see little eyes staring at staring out at you, and like the blush of youth on their faces.
What silhouette are adult dwarves?
Adult dwarves would be silhouette 1. They're on the shorter side, but they're still silhouette
Right.
1.
Okay. But I think that these are kids of some sort.
Exactly. And I think that would just be, let's see, 1 to get a clear look, and then 1 for the clue that they're youthful. So just 2 advantage there.
I think I want to like shout at them or something. I don't know if we want to do something with the rest of the advantage first.
I mean,
Yeah, so Bram, what
yeah,
are you thinking?
well, I was just gonna say, like, for starters, we can pass a blue die to whoever acts first on these in response to the what's happening, and that's just one advantage, right?
Yes, yeah, for a blue die for the next person to act.
Okay.
And so that leaves you both with 2 advantage. But let's say this thing that's crashing out of the branches is sort of on a collision course for care.
Hmm.
We'll use those failure with no advantage there to have that make you the subject of this. So yeah, the sort of flapping, fluttering, whirring object or whatever it is flying directly toward you.
Okay, well then, if that's the case, I'd use advantages to be in front of care, or yeah, like or
Okay.
I happen to put myself in front at that exact moment. Like I just had a funny feeling for some reason that, Care's, I should always be by his side, and I walk up to him at the exact moment, even though I don't actually notice the
I
whirring
see.
thing.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, so for 3 advantage there, we'll use those for that. Okay, so that'll just leave. So we've still got those 2 threat from Delanor and those 2 advantage from Krot.
I mean, I wouldn't mind canceling out his threat or something with my advantage if that's possible.
Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, let's see how this might work. Well, I'm going to use those 2 threat to have this thing flying through the branches. It clips, it sort of is bird-like in shape. And so its wing clips one of the branches and sort of spins it even further out of control, making it even more unpredictable. But perhaps Krot, with your advantage, you can shout out or somehow inform this roll that's coming, which will be a coordination check to sort of get out of its way.
Everybody duck.
So Levitt, since you have sort of put yourself in the path of this thing, it'll be a hard coordination check to avoid it.
Okay, that's fine. I'm gonna fail this, but I should.
So I was going to use those threat to add a black die to the roll, but I think Krot, with his assistance, has removed that.
Okay, sweet. Because I already get a black die from wearing big armor.
Nice. All right. So that'll be 3 wounds as this thing collides with you. And metal, as it smashes into you, you get the impression of a metallic bird. And its feathers, sort of made out of thin strips of metal, find some of them, the weak spots in your armor, and cut through. So 3 wounds, and then 1 1 strain from that threat.
So is it like damage 3, pierce 3?
Well, it does. Yeah. So this will ignore soak. It'll be suffered.
Right.
Yeah. Also, the weight of it sort of slams into you.
Yeah. So I like to think that Levitt was like, "Duck! Why do I have to duck?" And then he just gets smacked in the side of the face of the thing. It's like, what the hell?
And with that, the shapes that are in the bushes kind of like seem to try to hide themselves.
I want to shout out, "You in the bushes, come out now or else." And I notch an arrow. I'm not going to shoot a kid, but they don't know that.
We're sorry. We're sorry. We didn't mean for anyone to get hurt. And a young female dwarf stands up from the bushes.
Bloody kids these days. He's picking shards of thopter out of his armor and throwing it on the ground.
We were just playing. We didn't even know that anyone would be in this part of the wood.
I'm going to pick up the, I don't know, I assume it's pretty heavily damaged bird thing.
Yeah, it looks to be crafted from metal and leather straps and gears carved from hardwood.
Playing with this?
Yeah, it's my. Well, I got it when I turned 12. I'm not supposed to play with it by myself, but I didn't think that it would be a danger to anyone out here.
Could I take a look at that?
All right, so I will take either a alchemy or a mechanics check.
I'm gonna go ahead and make an alchemy check.
All right, so it'll be average. Very cool. So with 3 successes and a threat, so right away you note that there is a small shard of stone at the center of this creation that has a tiny rune carved into it. But it doesn't appear to be a fragment of like a rune-bound shard. It's some sort of other object, and not a gem either. Some bluish mottled stone, like blue and gray and black, but very tiny, just like almost a sliver. And surrounding that is this construction, sort of like a clockwork bird. I think that threat, it'll be a strain as you're sort of lost in a moment and maybe your heart even beats a little faster. Like you're seeing something you've never seen before. So the excitement kind of gets to you.
I think I want to say to the kids, just actually a quick question. How close are we? Like, how much further in our journey will it be? Or do we know how much further it'll be before we meet the dwarf camp?
Yeah, you're about a quarter mile away.
Okay, cool. Then I would want to say to the kids, hey, kid, or just one, I guess. This is one kid now. Or are they both?
Yeah, well, she has said we, but
Okay.
but you only see one.
Okay. I say, you kids want to make it up to us? Well, how about you take us right to your encampment, and then you put in a good word that I didn't give you a thwapping for running into me with your magic thingy, all right?
Well, yeah, I mean, again, I'm really sorry. I don't know, though. I don't want to get in trouble.
Well, you're already in trouble.
You're already, yeah.
If you're looking at me, my God, these kids, they just don't see authority.
Are we looking at a coercion or like a leadership? It doesn't really sound like charm to me.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a coercion situation.
Okay. Yeah, so that'll be, well, they do have a willpower of 2, so it'll be an average check.
I assist with this.
Yeah, for sure. What's your coercion look like?
I have, I believe, 2 greens and a yellow. Let me check. Oh, I have 2 greens, a yellow, and I have an automatic success from an armor attachment.
Oh, you've got that scary armor.
Kids really respect the wolf head helmet.
Of course they do. So can I pick up that success to this roll? Because I have the same.
Yeah, I think so.
Yellow and 2 greens. Okay.
Yeah,
because you guys are kind of combining your
growling at the kids.
Oh, jeez. Okay. Okay, and then it's 2 purples.
Nice.
There we go. Yeah,
there's 4 successes and an advantage. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay. But look, you have to tell them that we weren't trying to hurt you, that it was all an accident. But okay, we'll introduce you. We'll introduce you to Chella.
Yeah, sure, Chella or whatever. Just take us there, all right? And
okay.
Levitt feels good about himself for having told the kids where they stand, so he heals a strain.
Sounds good. So this young dwarf, she kind of reaches down into the shrubs around her and pulls up a young boy next to her and says, "Come on, Kerr. We got to take him to the camp and be on your best behavior. Maybe they won't tell Chella that we are misbehaving." And they begin to lead you toward the camp. This girl kind of looks over her shoulder occasionally at Kerr, at the bird that you're holding. And you can tell that she really wants to ask for it, but is having a hard time working up her courage.
I look over at her, and I see this, and I say, tell you what, if you are really nice and tell your parents or whoever you're taking us to that we were very polite to you and just want to have an audience, then I'll make sure that I give you your bird back.
So she seems buoyed by your words, and like kind of a little grin comes across her face, and she picks up her speed, sort of dragging the little boy along with her. She says, come on, we're almost to the camp.
As we keep walking, I kind of conversationally ask her, so what makes this thing fly?
Oh, well, the rune inside, the stone, it's a piece of the Starfall stones, she kind of says with a whisper.
Oh, wow, that's very impressive.
Do you control it?
I can control it a little. I'm getting better at it.
Interesting.
Well done. It seems like you're starting to really learn how to use stuff like that. Wherever did you get it from?
Oh, well, it was a present, like I said, from my 12th birthday. The Green Lake clan, we're really good at runecraft. And here we are. So you have arrived at the edge of this camp. It's sort of arrayed along this hillside, and you can see where extensive tents were set up, fabric tents stretched across these posts driven into the ground. But it appears that they are working to make the camp more permanent with some sort of rough log structures. And one of these is on the larger size, and you can hear the work of saw blades coming from inside it. And some of the even newer structures, newer just a matter of perhaps days, because all of this seems pretty freshly constructed, have boards that are better worked. So there's definitely a progress from tent to sort of log building to sort of worked lumber going on. And indeed, dwarves are moving all about in the process of taking down old structures and putting up new ones. Smoke is rising from around the camp. The smell of a hearty stew sort of drifts towards your nostrils. And everyone seems to be hard at work, their cheeks sort of rosy with the effort. The girl says, "Come on. Last time I saw the foreman, she was over here." And she leads you around sort of a larger construction. It seems to be maybe a lodge being built or a central hall.
I want to pluck a couple metal feathers from this thing and incorporate them into my armor, just like trophies.
Awesome. Are you trying to be sneaky about it?
No.
Okay, cool.
Of course not. Why would he?
So you round the edge of this sort of larger building that's being constructed, and you see a group of dwarves in conversation. One of them is holding open a larger parchment with plans scrawled on it. You can see like the layout of the campsite with various the progress of various buildings, sort of marked in the dwarven language. And at the center of this group is a rather stern-looking woman who's listening intently to what's being said.
As we get closer, if they're still talking and don't stop when they see us, I'd like to see if I can listen in on what's being said.
Yeah, as you approach, I don't even think you need to make a roll for this. It is an accented version of Dwarvish. Would you understand Dwarven?
I would likely understand some Dwarven in a kind of broken, I get the big important words, but maybe not some of the more dialect ones.
Okay. So yeah, they do just seem to be discussing the work at hand, the construction of the campsite. So the woman at the center of this group looks up, sees you approaching, and raises her hand to silence the other dwarves. Well met, travelers. What do I owe the honor of your visit? My name is Camp Master Chala.
Delanor looks at his friends and friends. Who should speak to the camp, Master?
Well, I would be happy to volunteer too.
Excellent.
We were simply coming through on some official business. I would just like to start out by saying that as we were walking through the woods, we happened upon these children here. They thought that they were alone, and the accidental damage to their bird should not be considered terribly their fault. And as I say this, I hand the bird back to the girl.
So this stern woman, when she catches sight of the damaged bird, her brows furrow, and she says, "Vari, you know you weren't supposed to play with that on your own." And the girl seems contrite. She says, "I'm sorry, Chella. I just was so excited and no one has time to show me." And the campmaster looks up to your group and says, I apologize. These young ones, they're so impetuous. I'm sorry if any of your group was injured."
Nobody important.
Oh, Levitt here. Yeah, no, it's all good. He's quite the wall, you might say. It's so big and strong, so funny looking. But we do actually, like Kerr said, my beautiful friend here, he did say we do have some official business to take up with you. And so, and Delnor looks down at the children and says, "The children, you have been a great help. And you're so beautiful, and your playing is so wonderful. It's so great to see you, running around. But life is dangerous, and this rune-powered bird," and he looks at Campmaster Chala with an arched eyebrow, "is perhaps also quite dangerous, and perhaps something that maybe Campmaster Chala we should talk about. We come doing the work Baron Zarles, and who, as you know, has interest in this area. Is there perhaps somewhere we could talk, privately?"
I see. So you are agents of the Baron, then?
Yes. Is that a problem?
Of course not. We expected to hear from the Baron soon enough. Yes, come with me. Are you hungry? It seems you've been on the road. We have some hearty stew, some refreshments.
I'm famished, and I love dwarven stew. Have you ever had dwarven stew? Oh yes, it's a lovely, lovely thing.
I would not turn down some refreshment.
Well, come with me then. Are you familiar with this dark drink called coffee that they bring from the lands to the south?
No, but could I get a drink called a health potion? Because I'm kind of bleeding from my face right now.
All right. Well, I said with that question, give me a vigilance check. It is.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah. Well, you're seeing like her, so she's going to react to that question in a way. So a vigilance
Okay.
check with her it would be an average check.
2 successes and an advantage.
Very nice. So at your mention of health potions, she looks down and almost seems a bit embarrassed, and a look of sort of strain and worry comes across her expression before it's quickly like tamped down beneath her like sort of stern demeanor. And she says, I'm sorry, but we actually don't have anything of that nature to offer. We're a new encampment. We're just getting our feet beneath us, and times like these, can make it difficult to provide those sort of things.
Yeah, no, of course. Difficult, but this is the world these days, isn't it? Well, I guess I'll settle for stew.
Seeing her discomfort, I chuckle and clap Levitt on the shoulder, saying, perk up. I've heard that a good strong coffee from over the sea is as good as a health potion and a stamina elixir combined.
It is an invigorating brew. My clan has come to enjoy it greatly. So she brings you over to a camp table and a bunch of fold-out chairs that are arranged. It seems to be one that can be moved from place to place and has maybe been set up just this morning. But there is a low fire nearby and a bubbling pot hanging over it, as well as like a small urn that's sort of nestled against a warm rock. And one of the other dwarves brings out some little metal cups and pours like a frothy, rich, dark liquid into them and passes them around the group, and also begins to serve some stew. So we can, if you'd like, regain strain here. So either if anyone has strain, you can roll cool or discipline with no difficulty, and you'll get a blue die from the coffee if you choose to drink some. Well, as I said, I expected to greet some agents of the Baron sooner or later. Our understanding was that this land was largely unclaimed. From what we have heard, no one is able to set up settlement in these lands.
It is uninhabited, but not unclaimed.
Well, surely we understand it's part of the barony of Kelm, but there are no settlements for miles around.
Well, that's just the thing. There were no settlements for miles around. However, as the Baron has become aware of people settling in the area, he's simply interested in collecting a small amount of gold on a semi-regular basis to provide additional infrastructure.
And perhaps you need services like healing services. No? Maybe this could be quite an easy and profitable thing for all parties involved. Are you, in fact, the decision maker here in the camp?
In part, yes. I am in charge of this camp and its construction, but decisions for the clan, the Greenlake clan, are made in concert between myself and the master runecrafter, Arvik.
Well, would we be able to speak to both you and Arvik about these contributions to the barony?
I suppose that would be the way to go about it. And her eyes look toward the starfall and to that plume of smoke there. She says, to be honest, though, we're bringing in no revenue now. It will be some time before we have any funds to pay tribute or tithes or taxes or whatever the Baron calls them.
What is it? What is it exactly you're doing? What that could potentially bring in this money or funds that you speak of?
We're craft folk. We create all different types of crafts, but we've researched for many years the processes of creating rune-bound objects without using the shards of Timurin.
My eyes light up at this, though I am quick to try to hide that. I make a considering noise and say, well, the Baron accepts his contributions in many forms. Does the Baron ask the farmers around his realm to pay for their stay in gold? No, simply in a tithe of their grains, and by similar merit, if you have something other than gold to offer, I'm sure that we could discuss something that's beneficial to both of us.
She leans back a bit in her camp chair and places a thumb and forefinger against her chin. And she says, I see. Yes. Well, this sort of discussion, I'm afraid, will need to involve the master runecrafter. So perhaps, and then she's cut off by a cry. There's a wagon making its way from the Starfall back toward this encampment at a pace that the oxen that's pulling it seems unaccustomed to. He's being whipped as the cart is being pulled quickly back toward the camp, and you can hear shouts from down the hillside. The campmaster Chala springs to her feet and says, You'll have to excuse me. There's some emergency. And she quickly makes her way toward the cart.
Well, that's rather convenient. I suppose we should follow her.
Yes, let me just see what's going on. These metal birds do not account for their ability to survive here when none others have.
I slam back my remaining half a cup of coffee and jump to my feet.
Delanoris, what do we? It's their emergency. What do we need to do this for?
It's their convenient emergency, and I have this sneaking feeling like it involves us, because we're here, and that just makes sense.
The three of you are always making so much work for me.
No,
Okay.
the three of you are always making so much work for me.
I have this sneaking suspicion that magical experiments gone wrong seem to account for more than half of the emergencies that I've seen, and given what we've heard so far, we would be foolish not to see what is going on.
Yes, we're here to scout for the Baron. Finding out what ails them may aid us.
All right, fine, lead the way.
So as the group follows the campmaster down toward this wagon, you can see that there's someone in the driver's seat sort of whipping at the back of the beast of burden. And then in the wagon proper is someone laid down. And from here even you can see that there's a trail of blood that marks the ground behind this wagon. And above the body that's laying in the back is a young dwarf woman who seems very concerned as she looks down toward the still form beneath her. The wagon pulls to a stop next to the camp leader, and the woman in the back says, It's Healer Tonal. The tree, when it fell, it crushed his leg. I'm afraid we have no more potions to help him. I don't know if he'll survive.
I whisper sharply to the rest of my party, if any of you want to have a chance of getting a good welcome and the best deal possible, one of you will go up and heal that dwarf as quickly as possible.
Very well. Let me briefly check that Primal has the heal spell.
It does, yeah.
Okay, all right.
You're it, man. Yep.
Yeah, I believe you're the only healer in the party.
I'll walk up to the campmaster and say that I believe I may be of some assistance.
So you can see beneath her complexion, she's gone quite pale at the circumstances. And she says, I would appreciate any help that you could give. Thank you. And then surrounding the back of this wagon, you see that indeed there's a dwarf there. He has a sigil of a healer attached to his garments, but one of his legs has been crushed flat.
Gross.
And blood is welling up past the rough tourniquet that's been tied there.
Yeah, I'll give the heal a shot. It sounds like maybe I'm including the heal critical additional effect.
Yes, that would either heal critical or heal incapacitated. Either one would do.
Okay.
Since this is sort of a minion, you do have a lot of story points there.
Yeah, I think I'm going to flip one. It seems like this is a good opportunity to get in good with these guys. And so that's going to be hard difficulty. Okay. Oof.
So you weren't able to heal this wound. We'll say it's the critical. So, okay. So unfortunately, you're not able to stop the bleeding and save this dwarf's life. And in fact, well, why don't we say this too? What does it look like when you cast a healing spell?
I think that it's like his legs that were crushed or whatever. I think they kind of get like frosted over. Like normally, I imagine it like, I don't know, kind of a suspended animation thing. Like I encase it in ice, and then when the ice comes away, then it's healed. But this time, when the ice comes away, it's still injured.
Before we continue, I have the ability to cast one divine spell per encounter via my Templar talent. So upon seeing that we're not succeeding, I could also run up and try and assist if you allow him to survive long enough for that to happen.
Yeah, I mean, since it's still within the same round, yeah, I think that you could attempt that heal spell. But so describe how this looks then.
Okay. So yeah, so then my thought is that...
Sorry, can I ask about my advantage?
Yes, of course.
I wanted to see if I could learn anything about the nature of the wound. Is it really like a tree that fell? Is it like something else that caused this?
Yeah, I think for one advantage alone, you can see that indeed the leg was crushed by something really, really heavy. Because you see like dirt caked around the leg and even little bits of bark in the wound.
Okay, cool. Then I will basically relay. Sorry, is it the Colossus worshiper who has the divine?
It is.
Yeah, it is actually.
Terrible. Then I'm going to be like, listen, I don't think there's anything we can do here. The wound is too great.
Mm-hmm.
But I think maybe he knows for whatever reason, there's like a rivalry between us, or like I don't trust him for some reason. So maybe he's extra determined to succeed here, and that gives him a boost or something.
Yeah, sure, that's great. He's like, because I was gonna say that Levitt walks up. He doesn't even know that you're not succeeding. He just walks up and he's like, "You wouldn't do this for me? Come on, man. I'm bleeding out of my nose still." And then he's like, "Holy shit, this guy's really gonna die. It's not working out, man. Come on, what are you doing? Look, I'll show you." And then he just lays his hands. He takes off his gauntlets, throws them to the ground, and quickly lays his hands onto this man's leg and attempts to perform some healing of his own.
Okay, so then I think for one of those advantage that could add a blue die to this check. Actually, in this case, it might take two, if that makes sense to you, Carl.
I don't have anything.
That seems pretty fair.
One, so.
But then for that fourth advantage, if you're okay with it, you could have that sort of positive, give like a positive, like the dwarves, as they see your effort, they are turned a little more in your favor.
Yeah, they know we're trying.
And so, in fact, the female dwarf that is sort of standing in the back of this wagon, as she sees your effort, like she looks sort of like into your eyes and sees your disappointment as the healing spell fails, and she clearly feels a bond with you in this moment.
Hopefully she doesn't see that I'm even more disappointed if his spell succeeds.
Of course. I'll flip a story point for my roll too, since we've got him. And so it's hard because I'm adding the critical, heal critical.
Right, it'll be a hard check. Oh my.
Yeah, there we go.
A success and a triumph.
So I feel like it's like this. He lays his hands onto this guy's leg, and for a second it glows really brightly red, like that the flame of Kelos is clear there, and the guy maybe shouts out for a moment, even though he was lying there incapacitated. All of a sudden he's like ah, and maybe even sits up quickly, and Levitt is like, see, that's so bad. There you go, and he claps the guy on the shoulder, and I feel like Krot is maybe. He can see that the power. He knows that the magic that Levitt has just used is actually much weaker than his, but for whatever reason, it just.
Well done.
So this is like almost a sort of flames ripple down across the guy's leg, and then is that what we're saying?
Yeah, or it glows really brightly, like a really hot black body, and it emits this brilliant white light, and then red, and then even maybe a bit blue. The so hot, and then the burst of flame for a moment, and then he sits up.
All right, and as that light fades, you can see that his leg has been made whole beneath like the ripped fabric of his sarong, and he gasps and sits up, grabbing at the woman above him, and he says, "What? How? Oh, I thought I was dead for sure. That tree fell. Oh, it laid me low, but thank you, knight. Oh, you've saved my life."
Of course, this is what I do. It's just another day for me. But I'm glad you're good, my boy. He's definitely older than Levitt, but Levitt's just like that.
And then the woman there too, she still with her eyes on Krot, she nods and says, "Thank you both. We appreciate the effort that you've made for our healer. Without him, we would have been lost." "Oh, yes, Benet, I'm sorry I haven't been able to do more. It'll take me a few days to make more potions. And until that time, our friends, well, they won't be able to return to work."
There are others injured?
Benet nods, and she says, "Yes, many have been injured in our efforts. They're stalwart folk, and they don't complain. But yes, our supplies have been stretched quite thin."
What sort of work have you been doing that has been causing such injury, or is it simply something in the woods themselves that has stopped others from being?
All right. Well, with that, I think another vigilance check would be in order. It'll also be average. The blue die, since you guys have seen some evidence of what might be troubling these folk.
Are we all making it?
Yeah, I think anyone who wants to can make it.
Okay, I want to because I'm also pretty interested in this answer. Oh, man.
Okay. So, Krot, you're removing a strain with that advantage you got there?
Yeah.
Okay. So both Kara and Krot are not able to really kind of make heads or tails of this sort of look that the dwarves share with one another. But Delanor and Levitt both, at the mention of other things from the woods, like there's definitely a long look shared by these dwarves. And they definitely are troubled by something from the woods. So let's see. We have a threat from Levitt and 2 from Kerr, who didn't get successes. So Kerr, I think, let's see, in this moment where things have grown sort of more complex, you had been fascinated by this machine that was created with the help of runecraft, and you don't see anything leading toward further evidence toward solving that riddle. So I'll have you take 2 strain as you're kind of growing frustrated with this distraction. And then Levitt, as you see their concern for what may be in the forest, your eyes turn toward the sort of shaded underbrush, the ferns that are sort of blowing in the breeze, and perhaps a premonition, but you get a chill. So you get a strain for you too with that threat. But yeah, so Delanor and Levitt both with your successes. Let's see, the nature of the question was like, is it their work or is it something in the woods? And so with that success, it seems like it's both. Like they share a concern for whatever weird things are in these woods, but also for the work that they're doing. Like they both seem like maybe their resolve for their efforts is a little shaken.
Delanor sees this sort of silent exchange and steps forward and says, "It seems that there are dangers here which you perhaps need some help with, and if we could learn something about what you're doing and how hard you're working. If we could have some more information and we could speak on behalf of you with the Baron and perhaps help with some of your needs, and should it prove something that we all would like to see happen. But I think maybe we would like to learn more. Is that right, my friends? And Eleanor looks around to everyone.
Yeah, I think y'all better start explaining what's going on here. Because listen, we've been nothing but kind to all you. I just saved this man's life. I think it's time that we start hearing the truth. All right?
What my well-spoken friend here is trying to say is we want to learn more information, just like I said. So, yes, we'll let them speak now, I think.
There is no shame in asking for help. It's better to be weak and admit it and survive than to pretend to be strong and die.
So savage, my orc friend, but I would expect no less from you.
Yeah, I think too, with those successes on that roll, and with your further discussion here as you're sort of seeing how they react, I want to reveal the Campmaster Chala's desire, and her desire is for safety. So she clearly is concerned about her people and seeks their comfort, and anything that threatens that is kind of going against her, like what she wants from the world. So I'll just throw that out there. But so then, in regards to what you're saying, Chala nods and says, "Bene, they should see what we're about. They're representatives of the Baron, and I think it would do for them to speak to Runecrafter Avric." And so Bene nods and says, "Very well. I will take you to meet the Rune Master."
Excellent. Thank you both. And Campmaster Chala, we see that you love your people and we want to help you. And so I hope that we can work together, and this kind of support that you have for us now, we've exchanged our skills and our intentions, and you can speak for us on our behalf, perhaps, with this gentleman. I can't remember his name that we're going to meet.
The Master Runecrafter Arvik.
Arvik, yes.
Chala nods and says, "Well, I have things to see to at the camp. Bene will escort you." And Bene hops down off the wagon and says, Yes, I'll introduce you to Master Avric. Keep in mind he is a man devoted to his craft, and he can be a bit hard to talk to, but he has given his life to the betterment of our clan." And she turns and walks towards the woods.
And we follow.
So as you approach the edge of the Starfall Forest, you come around like a turn in the trees and see that a huge furrow has been dug through the edge of this forest. Trees have been laid low, seemingly ripped up almost by their roots. So deep cavities in the earth as you walk through a central, harder packed path. And this seems to go on for some time. It kind of curves away from you through the woods. And in addition to where the trees have been brought up, you can also see that large holes have been dug. There's sort of like huge scoop-shaped depressions to either side of this of the path that's been cut through the woods. Bene is quiet as she leads you forward, and then you round this curve. And before you see the source of this pyre of smoke that's cascading up into the sky. And there is a huge construction. It's almost beetle-like in its form. It's the size of a building or even larger. You see dwarves on its back engaged in its operation, walking back and forth. There's a series of platforms along its side and ladders that lead up to the top. It has 6 large legs that hold it above the ground and 2 huge arms with pinchers on the end that are even now grabbing a hold of a tree and wrenching it from the earth. And as they do, you hear the cry of, "Tree fall! Look out!" And the tree tips over with a large crash and slams into the earth.
It's not anywhere near us?
You guys are at about long range to the rear of this Colossus.
Well, that's a bit more impressive than a bird.
To either side, you see dwarves engaged in stripping trees that have already been felled of their branches and sort of preparing them to be pulled back toward the camp to be turned into lumber. There's tents set up to either side of this Colossus. And Benet, as you guys pause here, she points towards one of them and says, "That's where we have our wounded. If any of you would be willing, we could certainly use the help."
Yes, well, I think the priority is to see the Rune Master. It won't take long. I'm sure they'll still be alive when we get there, right? Listen, I realize that we're here now and you're low on supplies, but we do have, a mission to be getting on with. So I'm sure I'm sure I at least speak that I'll be able to help them. But please, let's just get to the Rune Master.
I chuckle softly and say almost conspiratorially to Benet, he doesn't like to admit it, but you can't do that sort of thing very frequently. It takes him a bit of time to feel back up to the task.
She sort of nods slightly and says, "Well, to be honest, though my folk have an ease with runecraft, the healing arts are difficult for us. So I can't begrudge him his, how do I put this politely?
On the spell slot.
His refractory period." So she puts her fingers in her mouth, her pinky and pointer, and lets out a sharp whistle. And you see one of the dwarves from atop the Colossus turn and look down. And she sort of waves and gives some kind of hand signal. That dwarf then turns and moves toward the front of the Colossus. She says, "Well, I've signaled for the Rune Master to join us. He'll be with us shortly."
One quick question, Benet. Is there any specific reason that so many of you are being injured?
It's the nature of the work. There's a certain unpredictability to what we're up to. And unfortunately, accidents do happen. And of course, the need to find I don't know if I should say. Well, anyway, there's a certain need to work quickly. And in those cases, accidents happen.
I think Delanor would like to use the opportunity to either charm or leadership, maybe, to try and coax that information out of her. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So it'll be an average check. I think it will have one black die because she has a reticence to speak out of turn.
Okay. And would leadership work here?
So how are you approaching how would you make leadership work? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think that he would try and, so what I would like to see him do is sort of try and let her understand that or convince her in some way that he is in a leadership position here now, having all the conversation, the good faith with Kamchala. So he would be, I guess, saying, trying to say the best thing that you could do, the best thing that you can do for your camp is to share information with me and with my team here that towards the shared goal that we're trying to achieve here, safety for your clan.
Can I kind of pitch in and be like, what
Yeah.
good does it do to achieve your goal if none of you are alive to see it?
Okay, yeah, that actually appeals to one of her motivations. So I'll even have that allow for an upgrade to the check.
Okay, cool.
Rather than just a boost.
And what was the difficulty?
It's average with one setback.
Oh, whoops. Maybe there was only supposed to be one black die there.
Well, one's blank anyway.
One is
Still
blank.
there.
Okay, cool. Yeah, success, an advantage, and a triumph. So your goal of the check was to sort of convince her to give you a little more information about their purpose here?
Yeah, it sounded like she hesitated to say when she was talking about what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because I had asked about how they were all getting hurt so much, right? So
yeah. So she'll say, our task here is to ensure that the Greenleg clan has a future. In Jedra's Harbor, we were belittled by the other dwarves. We had no purpose of our own. But when we traded for the Starfall Stone and realized it could be used in our craft, why, the Rune Master recognized that coming here and uncovering more of these stones would secure our future. And so it is of utmost importance that we find them. That's why we've come here and why the Colossus was created, to uncover more of the stones. And it is that single-minded purpose that drives our clan. Some sacrifices must be made to secure the future of the Greenlegs. So that's definitely the success. What do you think for the advantage and triumph
Well, perhaps this gives us an advantage in our conversation with Arvik. So I don't know if we could carry that forward to a in a blue die that I roll, a check that I roll in conversation with him, maybe.
Yeah, I think this extra knowledge that you've gained, that would do for an advantage in a social check.
Yeah. Okay. And then a triumph on learning.
Yeah, a triumph might be used to learn her. I believe a triumph could be used to learn her strength or flaw.
Right. Yeah.
Do you have all 4 motivations or just 2?
All 4.
Okay. So what do we already have? We have safety, and it seems like we know she wants to secure a future. I don't know if that's explicitly motivation.
Maybe the flaw.
Her flaw is that she's risk averse. She's timid when it comes to endangering the clan in general, but also the purpose that they've set forth here. She doesn't want to get in the way of the clan's future.
Okay. Sounds good.
And then the master runecrafter Arvik slides down the last ladder, and his feet land in the loamy soil of the turned earth, and he turns to face the group. "Oh there! How can I help you, travelers?"
Rune Master Arvik, we come on call from the Baron to speak to you of your new settlements in his claimed territory.
Ah, yes, I wondered when we would hear from his agents in person. Runners sent to gather information is all we've had before now, but it's good that he's sent some actual agents of his own to meet.
Yes, it seems that he is finally starting to take such settlements seriously and may even consider them part of his wider realm.
Well, of course, we understand that these are the lands of his barony, but consideration must also be given for the fact that none have been able to settle here before us.
Certainly. Perhaps some of what you bring to the table is simply bringing safety to these lands and allowing them to be more productive for anyone wishing to travel to or through them.
Well, indeed, we intend to tame these wilds. And he kind of gestures broadly behind him. And with that, another tree is laid low. "Tree fall! Look out!"
I want to say something like it speaks well of your resilience to survive in this land that none others have managed to tame. How have you managed this? It seems like your only enemies are tree falls.
Yes, well, other things are there in the forests. But when it comes to the spirits of the plains, we've crafted guards, runic guards that protect our camp. Unfortunately, that's used much of our resource. And you see him glance up. He's holding a staff, and embedded in the top of the staff is this bit of bluish gray mottled stone with a dwarven rune crafted in it.
Could you tell us more about these spirits?
Well, I'm afraid we don't have to worry about them much, so I don't have much to say. Once we set up our warders, they weren't able to enter our camp any longer. They don't trouble us anymore.
But it does seem to be the case that you are taxed. I think your community seems to be suffering somewhat. So the people are getting sick or injured, and you're not able to heal them. Is it that you're just dropping trees on everyone, or what exactly is happening? Why is there so many hurt people, and why can't you heal them?
Our magics don't lie in the realm of healing. We do have a healer, Tonal. his alchemy does some good in that regard, but it's not really a thing our clan has ever focused on. But in great endeavors, sacrifices must be made. It's unfortunate that injuries happen, but the work must continue.
Surely other peoples have developed safer ways of lumbering that didn't need an on-call healer at every hour of the day. Did you not consider learning from their techniques?
The lumbering is secondary to our task.
And what, then, would that task be?
We hunt the Starfall stones, I would think that's clear. Why else would one come to these disgusting woods?
Maybe you just really wanted to be left alone.
I seek to secure the future for my tribe, for my clan, for the Greenlegs. They treated us poorly where we come from, giving us no respect. But finally, we've found something that will empower our people. Once we've uncovered more of these stones, why, well, there's no end to what we may create. Just look at this great Colossus, and just a piece of the stone powers this creature, this being of gears and metal. Imagine what we can do if we find more of these stones.
Yes, well, listen. As great as you make it sound, we've spoken to some other members of your camp, and they've made it quite clear that things around here aren't exactly going so swimmingly. I saved a man's life from your camp just 10 minutes ago. He was going to die. Do you know who that man was? That healer you spoke of. A tree. Crushed his leg. And they didn't even have a health potion to clean up this bloody nose. I'm still bleeding, and... listen. We're here because the Baron has interest in your projects. And clearly, your projects, as great as they sound, need help. So, I believe if we just cut straight to the business, how about you help the Baron, and all of this great whatever nonsense you're talking about, a piece of that needs to go to the Baron. And in response, in a fair deal, is that we provide whatever help will pull you out of this clear issue you've gotten yourself into where people are dying and, well, whatever's in the woods, I don't believe it's so harmless as you say.
Surely you understand, sacrifices must be made in the pursuit of the future of our clan. I see the value of your words. Perhaps a trade could be arranged. We could use more healing potions. It would speed up our work. At the end of the day, we will meet. Have you already spoken to the camp leader, Chella?
Yes, we've spoken with her.
Yes, we will all sit down together and see if a deal can be made. Does that sound good? Can I get back to my work?
We really have to wait till the end of the day. I guess we sample more of the wonderful dwarven hospitality. Yes, get back to your work.
So just then, you hear some yelling from the woods to the side of it's sort of beyond these little tents that have been set up around the edge of the furrow created in the woods. Benet's attention is immediately drawn. She says, I think they're attacking again. The Rune Master Arvik says, I will return to the Colossus and make sure it's safe. You folk, if you're any good at defending yourself, be prepared. And he turns and strides back towards the Colossus.
Make sure the Colossus is safe. What's he gonna do? It's a massive building-sized hunk of metal.
And you hear another cry from the woods that kind of ends in a high-pitched scream of pain. And Benet draws forth her heavy pick and readies herself. And she says, be prepared, friends. Danger is afoot.
At this point, I have been repeatedly frustrated in my attempts to get any more information on these runestones. And this attack is just another delay. I pull up my wand and start marching towards the sounds.
Awesome. So around these tents that have been set up at the edge of the woods, you can see that the ferns grow very thick beneath the dappled light from the canopy above. And they're sort of swaying lightly in the breeze, occasionally like getting pushed back by the currents of air created by the Colossus as it trounces forward into the woods. But some of these ferns begin to sway in opposition to the rest. And in fact, they pull themselves up by their roots and charge forward. So let's roll initiative. You guys roll cool because you're expecting a problem.
Oh man, I hate expecting problems.
Yep, so do I.
And I am going to go ahead and use rapid reaction to suffer 1 strain to add 1 success to this cool check.
Very cool.
Whoa, these guys have some defense.
Fernlings, more like fern. I don't know, something. Fernlings makes it sound small, but they have 2 defense each.
Fernote.
So these seem like bunches of ferns come to life. And as they charge forward, they sway back and forth in a confusing flay of leaves that makes it difficult to determine exactly where to hit them to do damage, which is their defense. However, so they're just now at short range from the group. One of these minion groups is out of the canopy and out of the underbrush, so they lose a defense as they come out of the other ferns.
Interesting.
But the other group is still amongst the regular ferns. And it's a PC action first.
I'm a ranged dude, so I would like to go before the melee dudes get in the way. Is that okay?
That's fine. I'm also ranged. Would it be alright if I went first as I just started walking out there?
Go for it. Yeah.
Alright, I am going to ready my wand and just attack the group nearest to me using my ability Chill of Nordros to add ice to my attack roll for free.
Excellent.
What range are they at from us?
They're at short range.
Nice.
Believe I did that roll correctly.
Yes, it looks right to me. So you're going for the group that is still sort of amongst the ferns?
I suppose so.
Cool. So 1 success, 1 threat, and a triumph. So with magic, threats are a little more powerful. You can choose whether you take 1 wound or 2 strain from that threat.
I will... Oh, I need to spend my 2 strain. I will go ahead and take a wound from that as my scar seems to, on my wrist, seems to glow white and make the air cold around me.
Awesome. So 8 damage altogether.
Alright, and then I also have a triumph.
So when you're battling a group of minions, you can use a triumph to eliminate one.
Alright, I will go ahead and do that.
Okay, so they have a soak of 2.
Would you like me to describe how one of the minions is eliminated?
Sure. It's actually, so the damage will take out 1, and then describe how the triumph takes out a second.
Alright, shards of ice spray from my wand, mowing down one of these ferns, and as the ice embeds in the ground, it seems to have almost a life of its own. As my scar glows and I take I get injured slightly, simultaneously the ice spreads as frost towards the next fern, skewering up out of the ground and freezing it solid.
Very cool.
Do our characters know that each other are like affiliated with Nordros? I don't know if your character even knows that your ice thing is Nordros related.
Yeah, I think they do now to some extent. Or
My character does know that it's Nordros related, but doesn't necessarily know an enormous amount about Nordros.
Okay. Have you shared that, or would your scar thing, is that recognizable as like a Nordros symbol? Or I'm just trying to figure out if my guy even knows anything.
You might well have recognized it in the past or had a suspicion, and especially as I'm surrounded by cold and using ice magic, I suspect it would become apparent to you.
I mean, you could use ice magic without it being explicitly Nordrosy, but maybe the ease at which it comes to you is a clue to me.
Yeah, that seems reasonable to me.
So like this is like just adding to the pile of evidence that that Krot has, making him think that Care is perhaps a kindred spirit. Or maybe someone who's lost their way and needs to be brought to the true understanding of Nordos's power.
yeah, Levitt's pretty sure he's lost his way too.
Okay, so this same group of fernlings that you just hit, as you sort of freeze them, their leaves fall off like a plant in winter. They turn brown and just fall away. And so they're left with these like spindly stems. But there's also like a mass of roots at the bottom. And as you destroy these two fernlings, you see like what looks like kind of a little mud ball caked at the center of the mass of roots, turns like solid with the cold and then cracks and falls off as the fern collapses onto the ground. But this group is going to attack you back. And the other, let's see, there's 3 remaining fernlings, and they flick their extremities toward you, and tiny seeds fly off at you.
Sounds nasty.
I'll use one of these story points to upgrade the check.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Okay, so 6 damage with Pierce 1. And, I can't trigger out a fire because I didn't add the difficulty.
That's lucky.
That is very, very lucky, yes.
All right. So I have 2 soak. Pierce gets through 1 of that. Is that correct?
That's right.
And then I take 5.
Correct. We'll use that triumph to upgrade the other group of fernlings when they go. And it's a PC slot.
I realize I'm going to cast a spell on myself, so somebody else wants the slot. They can go for it.
Yeah, sure. Levitt, upon seeing Care get speed bombed, he is very flustered by this and pulls his halberd down into a ready position and charges into the fray in front of Care. And can he attack the same fernling that was attacking before?
Absolutely.
Or do you want to upgrade? Or I'm not going to upgrade.
No, I'm not spending anything.
Okay.
Nice.
There it is. 1 success, 1 advantage.
With Pierce 3. Ooh, halberds are mean.
Yeah, it's a big, hefty weapon.
All right. Well, they only have a soak of 2. So.
Oh wow! Yep. No soak.
So 8 damage is going to take out 2 more of them.
Okay. So Levitt comes to Care's aid, and he's flustered by the fact that Care got injured at all, and he's just rampaging through the ferns. He runs right up to one and grabs it and the halberd is 2-handed, so he just brings it down right on top of it and then chops another one in half.
Awesome. So as the halberd like splits these, the mass in the center of this sort of ball of ferns with razor sharp leaves, your blade cuts through, and you see that each time you're splitting this core of the plant, a powdery spray of caked mud cascades off of them as they die.
All right.
Interesting.
But I'm glad to see them go, so I will heal a strain back from that 1 advantage.
Nice.
Something nice about gardening.
Yeah. I love gardening. That's why I healed the strain. I mean, sorry.
Okay, so this other group of fernlings. Let's see, who would they go for? You're engaged, so they don't want to attack you. They want to endanger their friends. Oh, you know what? I think they'll trundle on up. So they'll move up and they surround Levitt, and they flick forward with their razor sharp leaves.
Ooh.
Yeah, they find purchase. They slice they almost like the ends of their branches like worm their way beneath the plates and padding of your armor and find their way to your flesh, where they like slice through long, slender cuts. So that'll be 10 damage with Pierce 2.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. So I take 7 damage. It's a big hit.
But then you have 2 threat to spend there.
Yeah. I think that if you're okay with me flavoring it this way, I'd like to say that as this leaves seem to be the perfect thing to break through Levitt's armor, and he's incredibly angry that his armor has failed him. It usually is so strong against any sort of attack, and so he lashes out back. I don't know if this is allowed, but I'm saying they take some damage. I guess I should flavor the threats to be damage from their own attack. So
maybe they have to I don't know, shred themselves a bit to get into the armor. Like it is stopping them, but they're like.
Or as Levitt squirms around, the armor actually breaks off the branches that they extended forth to cut him with.
Awesome. Okay, so 2 damage for them. And then it's another PC slot.
I can take that, and then you could do a spell, and then if you want to, if everybody's okay, you could take the first PC slot on the next turn.
Certainly wouldn't be opposed to that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Delanor. I think Delanor will try to heroically finish off the Fernlings that you guys are fighting with. So if he can move to engaged with the wounded group of Fernlings, then he'll use his sword to try and cut the last of them down.
Sounds good to me. All right, so that's enough damage. So 1 success, totaling 6 damage, is enough to take out the last Fernling.
Excellent. This is how it's done. And 2 threats.
I am going to hold on to those 2 threat until the end of the round. I'm going to change the events of the setting, the circumstances a little bit, but I'll do that after the last PC goes.
Okay. I am going to augment myself with haste, which I believe is 3 difficulty. Yes. And I say to Care, we will bring the winter to them, whether or not he really has any idea what that means. Nice.
Nice. So that gives you a free maneuver, right?
I get a free maneuver, but I'm going to have to be concentrating every turn. So I don't. Yeah, I get both my maneuvers are free, but one of them's going to be locked up concentrating.
Gotcha.
And a green dice on everything.
So what does it look like when you cast that spell?
I take out the bow and I sort of hold it in front of me and close my eyes and meditate a bit. And then there's like a chill wind that just kind of blows through the area. And I look a little more focused when I open my eyes again.
It sort of flutters the ferns, the cold breeze.
Yeah, my cool wolf cape blows in the breeze. And then I wouldn't mind taking this slot if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah, go for it.
Absolutely.
So as we round the end of the round here, I'm going to use those 2 threat now. As you hear tree fall, watch out! So a coordination check on everybody's part. It'll be average, so avoid getting hit by branches from this tree as it collapses.
Anyone who needs it, do use the story points. I probably will. Yes. I don't want to die.
I would appear to be the only one who has failed.
But with 2 advantage. So Delanor, with that one threat, you'll take a strain as some of the lighter branches whip past you. You just narrowly avoid being hit. Levitt succeeds. Okay, Kara, I hate to keep piling on Kara with the damage.
Can I use my triumph to somehow mitigate that? Like Levitt is heroically dives, somehow protects him. He's still going to take some damage because he failed his coordination check, but perhaps the triumph could mitigate some of it. I don't know if that's
well, I think for a triumph, if you want to push him out of the way and take the brunt of the damage.
Oh shit! Yeah, you know what? Screw it. I probably wrong, but character-wise, it's right. So yeah, sure.
So it's actually 7 damage minus your soak.
Oh, thank God. When you said 7 damage, I was like, oh, shit. Okay. All right. Well, that's actually quite good then.
Well, I appreciate you doing that, because I would have just been kind of completely incapacitated.
Oh, shit. That's lucky then. Good thing I flipped that story point.
Could we also add that Levitt diving out of the way to save him got him out of engaged with the dudes that I'm going to shoot?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, that would be good.
I'm gonna go ahead and use my 2 advantages to do that.
Awesome. So yeah, that'll be so you can use 2 advantage for a maneuver. It does consume 1 from the next turn, essentially. Is that okay with you?
So like I would lose my maneuver next turn. Like
for this upcoming turn, but you wouldn't have to spend strain to gain a second one because you would get it for free. Does that make sense?
Okay, so I would. So in
You're
this situation,
getting a free one before your turn, I guess, but it still counts against your
so that I'm
max
out
turn.
of the engaged, and then
Right.
But then next turn, if I wanted to maneuver at all, I would need to spend 2 strain.
No, because this will essentially, you can take 2 maneuvers a turn.
Yep.
By either downgrading your action or spending 2 strain. So in this case, you get a free maneuver, but it counts against your total of 2 maneuvers per turn. So if you took another maneuver in the round, you would still be free.
I get it. Okay.
Okay.
Del should take a drain from the threat he rolled on that one?
You did, yeah. Delinar took a strain from the branches like whipping past you as you narrowly missed being struck. But so this falling tree also now is between the group and the Colossus. And it is considered impassable terrain. So in order to climb over it, it'll take an athletics check if you wanted to do that.
Big tree.
The fernlings are on our side of the
Yes, yeah.
the tree. Okay.
And so it's a PC slot first, and I think that was going to be Krot.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Are they? Which one is it? Oh, we took one out completely. I guess I'm shooting the more friendlings then.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Short range. Adding a green. I will aim with my free maneuver, and concentrate with my other one.
You can remove one black die because this is the one that had moved out of the other ferns.
Okay, perfect.
Oh.
Wow.
That is unreal. Like, completely unreal.
Oh, man.
So 1 failure, but 4 advantage.
I guess I want to, like, upgrade the difficulty of their next check. Like, my arrow, like, they're about to, like, lash out at someone, and my arrow whistles through and takes out a bunch of the razor sharp leaves. Doesn't really do any damage to the structure of the thing, but takes out the bit that was going to whip someone.
Awesome. Yeah, and I think that can be done for just 3 advantage, right? So
okay, sounds good. I think I'll recover 1 strain with the last advantage. Quick little things for a plant.
And so it is their turn next. Who would they pursue? I think at this point, they kind of like bounce around on their roots and swing about, flailing their leaves in the air. And then they move away from you guys. So they're going to move to medium range with a maneuver. And then they're going to kind of take cover among the other ferns. So they're going to try to like get lost amongst the ferns. So essentially they'll have 3 defense for the next round. And it's a PC slot.
Okay, I would be happy to go. I'm going to do a very similar thing that I did last round, except this time they're still at short range, right?
They've moved to medium at this point.
They've moved to medium. Okay, I think I need to add. Perfect. All right, and in that case, that's what I'm going to do.
Nice. 2 successes and a threat. So once again, you can choose with that threat whether it's 2 strain or 1 wound.
This time I'm going to take an additional strain. So 2 strain from the attack or from the magic, and then 1 strain from the...
So it can be either 2 strain or 1 wound.
2 strain, 1 wound. Okay, I'll take the both strain.
Okay. Yeah, magic is more costly. So that takes out one of these fernlings, leaving just 4 in this group. And again, so what does your attack look like? You've got your wand, right? So you fire bolt of coals.
Yes, I fire essentially. It seems almost as if snow forms around the hand with the wand in it, and then as I flick the wand forward, shards of ice flick out of it too, seeking the bases of the fern and thoroughly embedding themselves in them.
Nice, and those ice shards again, as you say, they embed into the base of the fern, and as it collapses forward, like a little globule of mud, like shatters and falls into pieces on the ground. And another PC slot.
Yeah, Levitt could take this. I want to say that Levitt, in his wounded state here, he's taken some serious bruises and bludgeons, and he's cut up on his inside from that razor leaf, and he's suddenly wondering, what the hell's going on? We're fighting this. Where's the dwarves? Where's the Colossus? Where's the backup? And so, yeah, he looks around. Does he notice, is the Colossus moving towards them? Are the dwarves just running away? What's exactly the circumstances?
So the Colossus is still engaged in the same tearing down trees. And from this angle, you can now see that, kind of keeping with the look of a beetle, its head has like this large shovel-shaped protrusion. And as it moves forward, it digs it deep into the earth and flips like a huge cascade of dirt to the side, as it seems to be burrowing, searching as it is ripping the trees out of its path. The dwarves on its back, most of them still seem engaged with its operation. A few are like watching your group, and others are looking elsewhere in the woods as they seem to be observing other things happening. Benet had, during the course of the fight, run over to that tent where she had said earlier that the wounded were. And you see her standing at the edge of the tent, and she has the remnants of one of these fernlings on the end of her pick that she's killed. So there apparently have been other fernlings attacking while you guys have been engaged with these two groups.
Okay, yeah.
All right, I'll give him a break.
Yeah, all right. Fair enough, yeah. And then let's see. I think in this case the fernlings that we were fighting are kind of running away, and he's not interested in going and deal with them. He's sure he knows the rest of his party is more than capable of finishing them off. So but what he really wants is an explanation from either the camp leader or the master rune guy. He wants an explanation of what's going on, because this is clearly an unsustainable situation, and he sees it as a threat to the Baron. So can he see any way to get the attention of the guy in the Colossus? Because it is the Rune Master in the Colossus, right?
It is, yeah. At this point, they've got this collapsed tree between you and the Colossus. So like getting his attention directly might be rather difficult.
Okay. If I climbed over the tree, could I?
Yeah, well, potentially so. Yeah, you want to climb up to onto the thick trunk of the tree, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so it'd be an athletics check, average, okay. And I think there's so many branches to grab a hold of. There's a boost involved as well.
Okay. Yeah.
Very cool.
Love it. Easily scales. Puts an arm on top and just chin ups onto the tree.
Yeah, so Levitt brings himself onto the trunk of this huge felled tree. And so you get like a good view of what's going on around you. You can see the dwarves up at the top of the Colossus, the few that are sort of watching the forest around them that aren't engaged in the operation of the huge mechanical creature. One of them, you can see even from this distance, his eyes have gone wide, and he points past you into the woods behind. Just as you hear, and I don't know if anyone else would really be able to hear this, but at the height that you're at now, you can hear a cry coming from back toward the camp.
Okay, so would that be my advantages then, as I turn to look and see what that is, or?
Yeah, you can. Well, you have. Yeah, we won't say you've spent them yet, but if you'd like to spend them that way, you can do so.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, so you turn back, and looking up this torn path through the woods, you can see people, dwarves, running down from the camp, among them Chala, the camp leader, and you kind of follow their gaze into the woods and triangulate to where the dwarves are pointing from the back of the Colossus. And you see these large shapes like leaping through the woods, each leap carrying at like 20 feet or more. And as your eyes focus in the darkness, you can see they're giant jumping spiders, and something is riding on their back, like a weird shape that it's kind of hard to make your eyes focus on. There's 3 jumping spiders. 2 of them are also carrying dwarven children.
Jesus. I mean, Hellos Christ.
And they're heading out of the camp?
Yeah, they're heading from the camp deeper into
Okay, well, Levitt is gonna... So is he like on top of like like at the top of I got the impression he was standing on top of a trunk.
Yeah, so imagine like a huge tree, like
it's a humongous trunk.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It's still kind of kept off the ground by some of the larger branches. So you actually kind of had to like scale up one of these branches, and now you're standing, maybe like 10 feet or so above the level of the forest.
Yeah. Okay. So then Levitt will just yell out to any and all who can hear him, "They're attacking the camp!" And yeah, that's it.
Okay. And the last PC slot, which is that Delanor?
Yeah, that's Delanor, yep.
What would you like to do, sir?
I think that there's still a bunch of fernlings in front of us, so I might as well, I'll maneuver to engage. I will act with my sword, and then I will spend 2 strain to maneuver away.
So they've moved to medium from you at this point?
Oh, have they? Okay.
Yeah. So it'll be 1 maneuver to short and 1 to engage.
I look at Krot and I say, shall I charge in?
Do we... I guess, I don't know if we really know. Is there any chance we can catch those spider things, or is that like those kids are long gone?
With Levitt drawing your attention, you guys all look up and you can see these huge jumping spiders. They leap from the side of a tree to like a large rock and then deeper into the woods. You won't be able to like catch them by running after them, but you could track them through the woods.
How far away are they right now?
They would be long range to you guys.
I'm gonna see if I can see where those spiders are going.
Okay. Then Delanor will. I see that Krot is looking at the spiders, and so I'll go in at the fernlings. It costs me. I have to do 2 maneuvers to get medium to engaged.
Yeah. So one to get to short, and then another to engage.
Yeah. So that's 2 strain.
Okay.
Successful.
1 success, 1 threat. We'll use that threat for a strain as the weight on your heart of children being carried off by giant spiders. I suppose that's not too uncommon in Terrinoth, but even still.
I think I would prefer to disengage.
Follow the spiders. Try and track the spiders. Save the children. We need to save the children.
So let's fall out of rounds as the fernlings like sort of quickly get lost amongst the underbrush and the other ferns growing there. You see them like disturbing the other plants, and then they just go still as they're lost amongst the ferns. So everyone can roll cool or discipline.
Before we drop out, can I try and shoot a spider? I know I'm not gonna like kill it or whatever, but I want to try and like slow him down or cause it to leave behind an ichor trail or something.
Absolutely. Yeah, so it'd be a long range attack.
Long ranged attack. I will go ahead and double aim and not concentrate since it seems like I'm not gonna need to. Maybe I can redeem myself here. Hey, okay.
There it is.
All right, very cool. So this is with the bow, right?
Yeah, this is the bow.
Okay, cool. And it's your signature weapon as well?
It is my
the
signature
reinforced
weapon. Yeah.
Oh, very cool. All right, so I can't damage your bow. I don't think 2 threats is enough to. I don't think 2 threats is enough to do that. But what I will do with those 2 threats is say that as your arrow strikes true, the spiders leap forward so quickly that you realize you're not going to be able to keep up with them. But you do damage. Let's see. So the soak, 12 points of damage. Their soak is 3. Nice. So 9 points of damage. Wow, that hurts this spider pretty badly. So it's the only one that isn't carrying a child. And I think your goal was to kind of like maybe make it easier to track, right?
Mm-hmm.
With this arrow. So yeah, an eruption of greenish fluid from the rear of its abdomen sprays across the ferns and the sides of the trees as it leaps forward into the darkness of the forest. So why don't you guys can roll for strain recovery. So that's cool or discipline with no difficulty.
So 2 successes is 2 strain?
Yes.
And what do you do with the advantages on this?
So there is some disagreement on the forum about whether or not advantage on one of these rolls can be used for strain recovery. My read is that it can be. So both successes and advantage can recover strain on this roll.
Okay.
Like at a 1-to-1? Like so?
Yeah, 1-to-1. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Like early in the core rulebook, when it's giving examples of how you might spend advantage, it says that advantage can be used to recover strain on a roll. So I kind of interpret it that way.
Cool.
Did anyone other than me bring healing elixirs?
I have 2 healing elixirs.
I have a
never
stamina
told anyone who has
elixir.
I also have a stamina elixir. I probably should have used some of my silver to buy healing elixirs,
Yeah,
but
me too.
you know.
I have Delanor has 2 and 1 stamina elixir.
I'm going to pass one to Care, a healing elixir to Care.
Thank you very much. And I will hate a healing elixir, which recovers 5 wound, I believe.
Yep.
That's true.
First one's 5.
Wonderful.
Do not let the winter take you yet, brother.
Oh man, this camaraderie between the Colossus fans.
Yeah, just as that transaction is happening, I'd like to say that Levitt walks past them, but doesn't notice, but he just like, for the comedic effect of the story, he walks past bleeding.
Yeah, Levitt is clearly more injured, and I give the healing potion. Out of character, I was going to let Delanor give one to Levitt.
Nah, that's
Yeah,
fine.
that's-
That's fine. It doesn't have to if you don't want to. I just realized that
Yeah, we are.
the two people with Discord names with Flame and Fire are both Chill of Nodros people.
So as you guys are passing around healing potions and calming down from the fight, Benet comes running up through the branches of the fallen tree. And she says, those monsters have taken 2 of the children. I think this whole thing was a distraction so they could attack the camp.
Distraction by who? We fought ferns that don't seem capable of deception like this.
There is some dark power in the woods that has been attacking us since we began our efforts here.
I remember you, or the Rune Master, mentioned some sort of guardians. Are those constructs that could help us, or?
No, we have warding glyphs that we arrange around the camp. It keeps the spirits away from us so they don't trouble our sleep or attack us in the night. But this is something else. These beings of the forest, we're not sure exactly what they are.
Would we take one of those glyphs with us? I mean, whether or not these things are spirits, if there's spirits in those woods, we don't want to encounter them.
I could get one for you from the camp, but in all honesty, we've never encountered the spirits in the woods. Those seem confined to the plains.
Well, then you don't need the glyphs.
They protect our camp outside the woods, but I'm here to beg for your help.
Yeah, we're walking and talking.
I could send someone, and she yells out to another dwarf, go back to the camp and grab one of the warding glyphs and bring it. He nods and runs off.
Benet, have you seen these spiders before?
We have fought them on occasion, but they make short attacks and flee back into the woods. They always seem as though they're trying to take one of us with them. So far, they haven't been successful.
Well, it's a good thing we're here now to save them.
Did you get a good look at whatever was riding them?
She bends down to where one of the fernlings has been dispatched and picks up a clump of that caped on mud-like substance. And she holds it up. These things seem to animate the plants and creatures of the woods. They somehow enhance them with magic and then ride them.
Can I investigate this primally? Because
Sure.
that sounds pretty primally, I guess.
It does.
I'd like to make a forbidden knowledge check if that would be possible.
So a knowledge lore check I think adventuring lore or forbidden would all work. Lore or adventuring would be an average check. Forbidden would be a hard check just because it's not exactly related. Forbidden is much more of like relating to sort of infernal powers.
Okay, if it would be a standard lore check, if it would be a knowledge, yes, if it would be a knowledge lore check, I can replace it with my forbidden knowledge, with my dark insight ability.
Nice.
Very cool. Okay, so then it'd be an average lore check for anyone who wants to make that.
Can I get a boost for how primally this seems?
Yes, it definitely. Okay. Since Krat made that check first, you weren't able to, like looking at this lump of mud that sort of crumbles in your fingers as you hold it, you're not able to precisely tell what it is. But you have those to advantage. If you wanted, you could use those to inform Kerr's check.
Sure, if I could give him a boost like before he makes it.
Yeah. So Kerr, you want to just roll a boost and we'll add it into yours?
Absolutely.
Okay.
There we go.
Whatever
So
magic
the inter-
was in these has crumbled. I don't know what this is.
Well, Kerr, surprisingly, in your research, you have encountered something like this before. This is the work of a creature of the Anlong, what is often called a fae. And I think we'll use that threat to have you take a strain. My favorite thing to do with a threat.
Dun, dun, dun.
Fae, you know from your research and from the teachings that you've received, are a strange race of beings that are of the Anlong, so of pure elemental energy, in a way that makes them very difficult to understand. sort of raw, creative, and destructive force.
Well, that seems difficult to fight. However, I think the spiders are very stabbable and have some kids with them. So,
The arrow seemed quite effective.
that said, before we fully venture off into the camp, I am going to turn to Vinay and ask if there's any runes that they have that might assist us in our going after the spiders. Anything that would provide us additional insight or make our magic work better or reduce strain or anything like that.
She says, I know something that might help you. And she turns away for a few moments, makes her way back toward the rest of the group of dwarves, and then returns, cradling something in her hand. And she opens it, and there's a small clockwork squirrel nestled on her palm.
That's a squirrel. I fail to see how this would help.
This thing better have sharp teeth.
She says, this can help if any of you are able to use rune magic. It can be used as an implement to cast divination. But if not, it can assist you in seeing things that are hard to find.
Yeah, that seems reasonable, especially in the dense undergrowth.
So the effect will be, as a maneuver, you can activate this device. Once per encounter, it can add 2 boosts to any perception check.
Excellent. I think I'm just gonna let whoever has the highest perception in this group have that one.
I have 4 greens, but no ranks.
That's easily the highest, I think.
Yeah, that's you. I have 3 greens, which is not terrible, but
All right, I'll pick it up by like the scruff of its metal neck and stare deep into its eyes and say, I don't know about this thing, but anything that can be of use, we'll take it.
So you've got it in this sort of awkward hold. It kind of scrambles and turns a little bit, and then just kind of goes limp in your grasp.
Is it dead? What did I do?
No.
I shake it a little.
As you shake it, it gets a grip on your wrist and runs around your arm and up onto your shoulder where it perches.
Fine.
Gets cozy in your wolf. Skin.
So tracking these spiders through the woods will be a survival check. With that damage that you did with that arrow, making the tracking roll easier, it'll just be an average survival check with 1 setback due to the thickness of the ferns.
Okay. Did we ever get one of those glyphs?
Oh, yeah. So one does come down and is given to you. It just looks like a glyph carved into one of these tiny pieces of the mottled blue and gray stone set into a larger sconce that could be mounted on the side of a building or on top of a pole.
Okay. I'll, I guess, hold it out for now.
Good luck. Thank you for your help.
And the survival check, we're adding a blue because of the blood trail, and we're adding a black because of the undergrowth, and otherwise it's standard difficulty.
So the blood trail is going to reduce the difficulty to average from hard.
Perfect.
And then those 1 setback die due to the thickness of the underbrush.
I have a feeling I have the best survival. Got a yellow and 3 greens.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Can Levitt, just before we fully leave and do this roll, I would want Levitt to say, wait a minute, why don't we invite the guard leader to come with us? No sense not having another able body.
If you think I won't slow you down, I'd be happy to come with you, of course. I'm unfamiliar with traveling across country like this, but I want to save those children as much as anything.
You made it here in the first place, didn't you? Like from whatever town in the Kingless lands?
Yes. Yeah, we did journey here. Yes, that's true. But this sort of travel amongst the forest is new to me, but I'd be happy to follow your lead.
Perhaps you can learn something and teach the others.
Perhaps so.
Which basically just guarantees I'm going to fail this check.
She looks over her shoulder a little, it seems like worried to leave the encampment, but there's a certain resolve to save the children as well.
All right, so average with a setback?
Average with a setback. And anyone who wants to can contribute a boost to the roll.
I'll go ahead and contribute a boost then.
Okie doke.
Pass to a dice.
Thank you. Nice.
All right, you're able to easily find the trail with 2 successes and 2 advantage. And I'd say even if you'd like for those advantage, you can cut down the time it takes you to travel through the woods.
Yeah, that sounds great. We dilly-dallied for a bit back there.
You know, you got to get that glyph. You got to get the squirrel.
Had to get a red ensign shirt for Benet.
It's very rude.
So you make your way through the thick ferns and shrubs that grow beneath the trees with the dappled light that comes through the canopy above, following this trail of greenish blood that's dripped from the abdomen of the spider. After some distance, you begin to note that the forest it seems to be, there's like a declination in the terrain. There's like a slope leading down ahead of you. And as you make your way around some tree trunks ahead, you can see that there's a drop off. There's some kind of maybe sinkhole with some rough stone around the edge of it. And you see the movement of one of these spiders around that stone.
See one. They're around the stone. Does the stone look special or starfall-y?
In fact, yes, there is a blue and black patterned starfall stone there.
Just one spider?
That's all that was seen just as you guys approach.
I'm going to, if it's okay with everybody, see if I can sneak within short range of the spiders without being noticed. And just to communicate my plan with everybody else before they agree to it or not, I'm hoping to sneak within short range, preferably with someone kind of watching my back, though not necessarily following me, because that'll increase how hard it is to stay undetected. And then I'm just going to try to dispel magic on the spider and see what happens.
Interesting. Yeah, I'll watch the back. Get ready to shoot it if it comes after him or something.
Okay, so a stealth check. Let me add this spider to the mix.
And what type of stealth check is this?
It's actually just average. His vigilance is 2 green.
All right, let's see how I do.
2 successes and 1 advantage. You do easily get within short range of this spider. And as you do, you see that it is quite large, maybe the size of a small horse. And astride the spider's back is this odd creature, bluish green in coloration. No discernible eyes, but it does have a vaguely humanoid shape. It's holding a stick of a U-shaped protrusion at the top of the stick. And as it turns, you see that it has like a long tongue-like structure that sort of whips out from its face.
I don't like that.
And does this look like it's made of that rock, or does it look like just a critter, kind of?
Yeah, it more looks like just like a blobby critter.
The rock also had like blue-green coloration. It seems like they're like related.
You wouldn't draw a direct line from the stone
Okay.
to this creature. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and I'm just going to use my advantage to heal a strain.
Cool. Okay, so you're in short range of this thing.
All right. Yeah. I guess I'm going to see if I can hit it with a spell.
I think this is going to trigger an initiative check, but since you are hidden, give you an upgrade on your cool check for initiative.
Cool. And by upgrade my green die to yellow?
Yes, if you have if you have a green die, it becomes yellow, or if you have all yellows, you add a green. And then I think we'll trigger initiative for everybody. And we can say that everyone else is at medium range to this spider, if that's where you would like to be.
My God, that thing is a champion. It could not have done any better.
Yeah, all successes on those. Max success.
I want to see the art for this thing, but it's so tiny. Wow, Delanor's super cool.
Not as cool as a spider, apparently.
It would appear that the spider is going first.
Just as you're about to cast your spell, this creature turns and spots you. It expels this yellow mucousy stuff out of its mouth, which it grabs at with its other hand and smears across the fork of this rod that it's holding and draws it back like a slingshot. It then spits a little black nodule into the cup of the slingshot and flings it at you.
Gross. As I am at least theoretically hidden, does it get extra difficulty when attacking me?
Yeah, since you were stealthing on up and it hadn't seen you, you're at short range. Why don't we'll say you're in cover, so we'll add a black die to that.
Perfect.
3 successes, which is 9 damage minus your soak. This blob hits your shoulder and begins to burn through the edge of your cloak. But you have a threat there to spend.
Yeah, so I have a soak of 2, and I'm going to use my threat to, Could I use the threat to gain advantage, or does that cost 2?
Generally 2 for a blue die, yeah.
Okay. I'm just gonna use a threat to cause it strain. Yeah.
Okay. It is a rival, so its strain and wounds are the same thing for it.
Oh, perfect. And then I take 7 damage after my 7.
Ouch. But it is a PC, so next.
Crot earmarks another healing elixir first, bro.
I want to know what kind of like scream or noise Kerr makes when this gross ass thing hits him.
I make the sort of noise that implies that I'm familiar with acid burns.
Jeez.
Okay.
Then I will try to dispel magic against it, which is by default a hard check. And yeah, I'm gonna upgrade this with a story point.
Sounds good.
Oh no.
Oh, man.
That's so brutal.
That's a little rough.
So you do have an advantage there. How would you like to spend it?
I'm just gonna spend the advantage to heal the strength.
Okay. PC slot next.
How far away are the rest of us?
Medium range.
All right, I would like to go up. I figure I had my bow drawn already, right?
Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
Okay, I'm going to close to short and aim and try and shoot this thing. Can I try and shoot the rider rather than the spider? Or is it...
It's
Like-
it's all one being.
Okay, cool. Okay,
Nice.
there we go. And I'll go ahead and crit this guy.
Right on. So their soak is 3. That's 9 damage. Oh, taking him real close.
Actually, I think rather than crit it, I want to I don't know, pin a leg to the ground or something so that whoever attacks it next has an easier time.
Yeah, upgrade the attack of the next person.
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, that's 3 advantage will do that. So who would like to go next?
Unless Delanor can think of a way to talk this crazy face spiderling, I think, into not attacking us, Levitt will charge in and attempt to skewer it. So I have to take 2 strain to get into engaged range with it, right?
Yes, that's true.
I will do that.
And you have an upgrade.
Right, thank you, because it's already pinned down. So as
Though I didn't know it was going to be you when I said that was what I was doing.
Oh well.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Damn followers of Kilos.
It's pinned nonetheless. Levitt's taking advantage of it.
Oh, there we go.
All right.
Very nice.
Pierce 3. So
Yeah.
good.
Pierce 3, 10 damage coming in.
Yeah, that is going to finish this thing off. So what does that look like?
So it gets pinned to the tree by Krot's arrow, and Levitt sees this opportunity, and he realizes what's happened, that it's noticed Kerr and Care, and he charges in with a battle cry and brings his halberd out and slams it down on top of the thing's head, right where its head should be, I guess. It's the little nodule on the top of it.
Sure.
And it turns to face it right before that, but it can't get away because it's still pinned, and he just fully chops it in half, like it splits apart and oozes whatever the hell it's made of onto the ground. Or onto me. Yeah.
I was going to say, like a burst of greenish blood spurts up from the spider. And you also hit this thing that's sort of attached to its back, this weird creature, which is also split in half. And oozes like a brownish black liquid from its body. And just as the life sort of ebbs from this conjoined creature, it begins to shrink and pull in on itself. And within a matter of moments, this spider, which was the size of like a small horse, has shrunk down to maybe the palm of your hand or smaller. And the thing on its back shrivels up into a little brown bit of muddy clay, which falls into dust around the split spider.
Seeing this, I look down at my wand and curse vigorously.
And so let's see, the last one to go is Delanor. I also have 2 threat there from Levitt. So those 2 threat, I think Delanor, I'm going to sort of like blend them into changing the scene. Delanor, as you see this beast be dispatched, you scan around to see what other threats might be present. And you see around the side of this stone 2 shapes wrapped up in spider webbing, small shapes about the size of dwarven children. One of them rocks slightly as you catch sight of it. But those two threat are that rising up above them is another of these spiderlings.
Ooh, and at medium range?
So at medium range from you, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yep, Delanor sees this. He says, wonderful, Levitt! And let us do this again! And I charge at the other one, and I yell at it, he's yelling at it, stay away from those children, you lovely beast! I will skewer you! And he charges in, I'll spend 2 strain to maneuver in and attack it.
All right.
Second spiderling, right? Oop, why do I have a red? Is there a...
It has 1 rank of adversary.
Oh, adversary. Right.
Ooh.
Nope. Big old fail. It's too far. I didn't have enough by the time I got there.
So after that, those big words and dashing forward,
Yeah.
unfortunately, your blade misses.
Oh, this thing is a lot bigger when I'm this close.
Yeah. I slowed down the last few steps. Like, what?
So I am going to spend 2 of these GM story points. As Delanor swipes at the spider and misses, there's a rumble and a gravelly sound of like hundreds of feet scraping across rock comes from this pit below. And a shape moves up, a huge shape moves up out of that sinkhole. And rearing up next to you all here along the edge of this hole is a giant slug-like creature. On its back is another of these weird beings.
Oh.
The being on the back of this slug does seem to be different. Like it's got protrusions from its head, like long spiky teeth or horn-like protrusions rather than a maw. So it is strange and different. So it'll be 3 PCs before the 2 NPC slots.
I don't know what happened to our dear friend, guard leader Benet.
Oh, yeah, she's charging forward even now. She'll take a swipe at the second spiderling. So she'll spend 2 strain for an additional maneuver. It gives it a hefty hit for 11 damage.
Oh, not bad, Benet.
Yeah. She's a total badass.
You can see why I was so resistant to have her join your crew.
Well, I was a little bit resistant as well because I didn't want to. If something happened to her, then we would lose our negotiation position, and
Yeah, I thought she was just gonna get smushed.
Seems like she can handle herself just fine.
Benet charging in slams her pick into the second spiderling and rips a gash in its thorax, and now it's a PC slot.
Delanor can go quickly and try and attack the second spiderling again, seeing how well Benet did. Is that good with everyone?
Seems reasonable to me.
That's good.
No.
Oh, Delanor.
Oh no.
So no successes, 1 threat, and 1 triumph. I think your frustration is growing palpable, so that threat will be a strain. But you did get a triumph.
Can I do something
The children.
with the kids? Maybe
Yeah.
cut one of them free or something, or both of them free.
Yeah, I think so. What would that look like? I think you can free the children. Yeah.
Okay, it's sort of a messy just dance with him and Benet and the spider, and the spiderling's trying to shoot at us, and she got a big gash in it, and Delanor hasn't been able to get in all this time trying to get in a good stab, and then he's just at the edge of it, and he realizes where he is, that he's standing beside the children, and they're wrapped in like silk or something kind of thing.
Yeah, spider silk, like wrapped up.
Yeah, so he just ends up right beside them out of chance and just, I think, snips with his sword, just opens up the spider silk on both of them. Children, run to protection, run to Benet. No, not Benet. Oh crap! Run away from the creatures.
There was the 2 children, Vari and Kur. Vari, the slightly older girl. You see that Kur, as the spider silk falls away, he is still, and his eyes are staring forward like glassy. Vari is like squirming back and forth. She has her mouth clamped tightly, On her face is a brown little glob. It almost looks like a blob of mud, and it's like trying to worm its way into her mouth.
Oh, can I spend 2 strain for a maneuver to try and grab it, pull it away from her, off of her?
I think
Or how?
that, yeah, I think that would be an action, trying to like get it
Oh,
off of her.
yeah, sounds good. Holy mother, 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 mother! He just goes off yelling, screaming, and swearing.
So another PC slot.
All right. I think unless someone else would like to go, that I would like to try to dispel the slug.
Ooh,
Sounds good.
yeah.
All right. And I'm going to spend a story point to upgrade my roll.
All right. I will spend a story point to upgrade the difficulty once.
All right. So base 3 purple, so that would be 1 red and 2 purple.
Yes, that's correct.
Man.
Ooh,
So close.
So close.
0 successes and 2 advantage. Man, this dispel is not going off for Kerr.
So I think that I try to cast the dispel, and as I do so, a wave of ice bluish light comes forth from my wand, but seems to almost absorb into the slime coating this massive slug. But in doing so, it reveals these strange stripes on it, almost these weak points, granting the next person who attacks it an advantage.
Awesome. So that would only take 1 advantage if you want to spend the other for strain or something else.
Yeah, I'll absolutely remove this.
Okay. And we have another PC slot.
The big slug is not currently engaged with anyone, right?
Right. It's at medium range to everyone.
All right, then I would like to take the slot and try to cast a spell on it. Medium range attack spell with ensnare for free. Oh, I don't have an implement. This is not going to do very much damage. Yeah, I would like to ensnare it. So I think that should just be 2 difficulty, right?
Yeah, to add ensnare. Yes. Well,
I get ice for free,
okay.
and so then adding a range band makes it 2. Yeah, I'm just going to add ice. I didn't make a macro for this. Does it have adversary or defense or anything?
It does have adversary too.
Oof. Okay. I am going to take the strain to double aim. So that's 2 for that and 2 for the spell.
Oh, but you know what? The difficulty of the attack's reduced by 1 because of its size.
Oh, good. Okay. So that's 1 red and 1 purple. And then there was a blue from Kerr?
Yes.
Okay.
Ice Bros represent.
Okay, 2 success, 4 advantage. So that's only going to be 6 damage. But I definitely have enough to ensnare it. I think that's 2 advantage for ensnare.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, my knowledge is 1, so it's only ensnare 1. So it's until the end of my next turn. Its next turn.
I think it would be so cool if Kerr and Crot like totally ice blasted this thing, and then
So
at the
icy
very
team
end,
up
at
move.
the very end, then Levitt could just come in and like.
I will say Curran Crot is excellent name for a pair.
Alliteration.
Yeah.
So I don't know if 6 damage gets through its soak or not.
It does. Yeah, it just has a soak of 4. So.
Oh, good. Okay.
So you said ensnare 1.
Yeah, ensnare 1. So it's immobilized for a number of rounds equal to the ensnare rating. I'm not sure if that means it's based on its turn or my turn.
I think till the beginning of your next turn.
Okay, sounds good. And it can try and make a hard athletics turn to break free, but that would be an action. And then I guess I'll just pass. Is anything look like it's gonna hit Care right now? So he's not next to a spider or anything, is he?
He's not. No. Yeah.
Does the slugling rider look like it has ranged weapons?
No, it doesn't actually have a ranged attack.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I just feel a lot better about ice in the slug. So I think that I draw back the bow, even though there's no like arrow in it, and an icy wind blows towards the slugling and freezes it in place.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, so this like slimy mass that it's extruding from its tummy just like crackles and freezes tight, holds it to the rock.
And that's it for me.
All right, so on its turn, I think it will try to break free just because it really has nothing else it can do since it can't maneuver closer to anyone.
Makes sense.
Okay, so it was an average athletics check, right?
Hard.
Oh, hard, okay. All right.
Well,
So it breaks free. It squirms its body, and the casing of icy mucus like shatters. It slips a bit, but then like lunges its body forward with the maneuver and drags itself up into short range of the group.
well, at least I took an action.
Yeah, definitely kept it from attacking this round. It's really good. Okay, and the other PC slot is for this second spiderling. So the spider lunges forward and bites at Delanor.
Ah, crap.
Ooh.
So hit for 7 damage minus your soak. You have a threat to spend, but it also has the venom quality. So you'll need to make a hard resilience check to avoid taking 3 more damage.
Is that something that activates or something that just happens?
On a successful attack that deals damage.
Okay, cool.
Oh, sorry, not 3. It's 3 strain, not 3 wounds.
Okay.
On a failed check.
Are you guys okay if I use a story point for this?
Sure.
Upgrade?
Nice.
Okay.
It's a good thing we did. Yep.
So that triumph, though, is going to be a critical.
Yes. Oof. Ouch.
Yikes, that's a rough one.
Oh no.
Awesome. Bites me in the back of the leg. Or no, it shoots things at me?
No,
Is
it
that
bit you.
what- it bit me. Yeah.
Yeah, its fangs burrowed into your body. But you do have an advantage to spend from that resilience check.
Well, maybe I just want to pass a blue die. I think I'll pass a blue die to the next person.
Which I believe is Levitt.
And
Yeah, for sure.
or Benet. Oh no, it's Levitt. Is it mine?
They already went.
Went at the beginning of the
Yeah,
round.
she fucked up the spider, right? Or was that
Yeah.
This
the other
or
round?
last round?
That kind of closed off the end of the last round. But yeah, we'll have her go at the end.
And there was a threat on the spider's attack, so I can just do a damage to the spider with that threat.
Okay.
Spiderling.
All right, Levitt.
So I'm standing over by the rock. So I see all this going down. I'm still within short range of everything though, right? Or is there anything that's medium from me?
No, now you're short range to everything because the slug has like heaped itself forward onto the edge of this ledge.
Right, okay. So Levitt is most concerned about the children. So he's gonna run to engage with them. Is he able to do that and not be running past the spider, or?
Yeah, well, you can maneuver within short range. You don't really need to engage with the children because they're not an enemy. So
Yeah, okay, fair
if
enough.
that makes sense.
Yeah, I just meant to move to engaged range with them.
Yeah, that's just one maneuver.
Okay, yeah. And then I'm going to try and get this ball off of the girl's mouth, whatever, the clay.
Yeah. So that's just an average athletics check.
Okay.
With a boost.
Oh, yeah.
I have a boost
Delanor.
from Delanor, right? Yeah. He's crying about the children. She's like, the children, think of the children.
Totally nailed the accent.
All right, 3 successes. Yeah, so you grab this ball of brown goo, and what do you do with it?
I crush it for sure.
All right, it squirts between your fingers. You feel it squirming, as you crush it.
Yeah.
But it squirts out in a spray of brownish ichor in all directions.
Yeah. Levitt is wearing like big iron gauntlets, so he definitely just like smashes it. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, cool. Does she say anything, or is she like
she gasps? She's been trying to keep her mouth shut tight against this thing for who knows how long, and she says, thank you. That thing was trying to get inside me. I don't know what it wanted to do to me.
Well, you're safe now, so run for cover.
What about my brother?
We'll take care of him.
Kerr, She's like shaking his body, and he just stares ahead.
Okay, I'll I don't know if you'll allow me to grab him, but I'll pick him up.
Yeah, I think lifting him off the ground would be a maneuver.
Oh, okay. Sure. Yeah, I'll spend the strain for it. But I'm not gonna be able to go anywhere with him yet, right?
No, not yet.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay.
Okay, back around to the top of the round and another PC slot.
What about Benet?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Keep forgetting about Benet. All right, so yeah, she'd likely take another swing at the spiderling, and it's a miss. But with those 2 advantage, she will add a boost to. She'll add a boost. Let's see, who would she feel most?
Oh, it must be Delanor.
Yeah, I think so. She says,
Of course.
Delanor, finish this thing off, would you?
Always.
I choose you, Delanor. Okay, so who would like to go first this round?
I mean, Eleanor?
Yeah, I can try and hit this thing. There we go.
There we go. Okay, so 8 damage. It has 3 soak. How do you finish this thing off?
Oh, beautifully. Yes, so he's holding off the spiderling, protecting the children, and Levitt runs in and saves them. And he's bitten in the back of the hamstring and by this envenomed. Benet swings uselessly the second time and says, Delanor, finish this thing off. And I think he just turns and with all the fire in his heart, he thrusts his sword right into the maw of the little green creature at the top.
All right, and as you slay it, it shrivels up onto the end of your sword, a little blackish brown clump that shatters and falls to dust as the spider itself shrinks down and curls up, its legs pinched tight against its body in death.
Will that do, Benet? Is that good enough for you?
Good job. Glad you finally scored one.
Damn, Benet! Fucking got him.
So those 2 threat there, what would they do? I think that you are so devoted or so committed to this sword thrust that as the thing shrinks and you kind of the pressure is gone from in front of you, you kind of tip forward and slip down prone next to this tiny spider carcass.
Oh, like you trip and fall.
Yes.
Well.
To put it succinctly, you trip and fall. Okay, so which PC would like to go second in the round?
So we've got to deal with the slugling still, and the other kid. Do we see a mud ball on him, or do we think he already ate it or whatever?
Yeah, you don't see one on the outside of his body for sure.
I think probably either Krot or myself should go next, given that we're the 2 people who are essentially actively engaged with the slug thing.
Sounds good. I know the dispels have not been going well, but do you want to try and do that on the kid?
I'll try to do that on the kid once we've dealt with the massive slug that's right in front of my face.
Okay, sounds good. All right, then I'm gonna try and slow this thing down again. I'm gonna do another spell on it. Hopefully, hold it in place for another round. So it's at short range now. Is that right?
Yes.
And then the difficulty gets reduced, so 2 upgrades just turns it to 1 red.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah, so up to medium, then back down to simple, and then 2 upgrades.
It should end up with 1 red, 1 purple, right?
Or sorry, short. Short would be a
short range bow attack. Yes, you're correct.
yes. Okay.
Yes.
All right. I'll double aim again. Strain is piling up to be sure. All right. Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's a bit of a roll.
So I will do the 2 advantage to activate the ensnare quality again. That's 8 damage total. And then I have 3 remaining, which is going to be an upgrade for whoever attacks this next as part of this Sick Nordros combo attack.
Nice.
Awesome.
All right, so it has a soak of 4, so 4 damage gets through, adding to the damage from the previous round. And it is once again ensnared. Is that the same kind of a look, like a icy?
Yeah, basically the same. This one seems a little more effective. What I've done is like leave a little hole where I think someone said there was like some weak spot or something, a little hole in the ice where someone could strike it there.
Nice.
All right. What sort of dice would an attack roll at short range, a magical attack roll at short range be?
So it would be 1 purple for just a standard attack.
Yeah, you just said there was some modifier because it was
Yeah.
huge, right?
Right, it has adversary 2, but then also because of its size, you reduce the difficulty once. So it would end up being 1 red die.
Perfect. Okay. I am going to make a deadly attack roll. So I'm going to add a purple, and then I'm going to toss on my ice die for free, or my ice attack for free.
Cool. And you got the upgrade from me.
All right. And then I add a red to that.
Hey.
There you go. So 8 points of damage minus its soak.
Yes, and then deadly, the attack gains a critical rating of 2, but I didn't get advantage to spend it on, I suppose.
All right, so with that blow so what does that look like when you cast this attack spell?
So I am clearly doing really poorly at this point, and frost is starting to almost like pool around me. I ready my wand, and this just, where before the ferns it had been these tiny little shards of ice, this huge just shard of ice comes forth from my wand, slicing through the slug at the single spot on it that did not already have a crusting of ice around it.
Nice. So this is a solid attack that has taken the slug past the halfway point in its wound threshold, but it still has enough energy to come crashing down. I think Krat has hit it twice with these magical bow attacks.
Yes.
So it opens its maw wide and tries to engulf you.
Uh-oh. From short range?
So it'll use a maneuver to... Oh, it can't use a maneuver, right? Because you've frozen
Yes,
it.
I froze it again.
Yes. All right, well, it can't swallow you. So I think the only thing it can really do here is try to break free again.
That's just the power of Nordros.
I'll spend a story point to upgrade its check.
It'd be really good if it lasted for more than 1 round. Uh-oh.
Ooh. So it'll use that triumph to downgrade. It shimmies its body and cracks loose this frozen coating again, which rains down in front of it, making an attack on it more difficult. And is Levitt the last one to go in this round?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll pass you an upgrade to your difficulty.
Brutal. All right.
Although, are you even going to attack it?
Yeah, actually, I don't think Levitt's going to be attacking it, or that's not his plan. So would that difficulty just get passed to a different person, or?
Yes, I think that it will. Yeah, so it'll upgrade whichever being attacks it next.
All right, then.
But what would you like to do on this turn?
Okay, so Levitt's just picked up the kid who is pretty much incapacitated, and he wants to try and curse mute or heal it in some way, or heal the kid to remove what he believes is the wrought or clay thing that was he already crushed that was attacking the girl. So could I try and make a heal spell to do that?
Yeah, I'm debating whether the correct add-on would be heal critical or if it would be
Restoration. Would you prefer it to be hard?
No, I think restoration is the appropriate add-on here. So it'll be an average.
All right.
An average check, yeah.
Okay, so I think I'll flip a story point too. Okay. Nice. Just 2 successes.
So what does your healing magic look like?
The power of Kelos.
Yeah, it is definitely the power of Kelos when he's doing his healing magic.
Oh, so, just like the last time, like that intense...
Yeah, it's this flames and light and heat. And in this case, I don't know if does this cure him of the ball of clay or?
Yeah, the kid's gonna like cough it up basically.
Okay, so I want to imagine that everything is glowing except that the one spot where the clay is in his body, and it rises out of him, and then he spits it out. And
Is it sort of consumed by flame as it comes from his mouth? Is it?
yeah, oh, that'd be sweet. Yeah, it just burns up and into nothingness, into ash.
Falls as ash onto the earth, the mossy ground next to this sinkhole. Nice.
He would still be like knocked out, probably, right? Like he's still.
Yeah, well, I think because he was sort of staring, unseeing. And now that he's coughed it up, he's like, his head is kind of lolling to one side and his eyes are having trouble focusing, but he's no longer in this trance.
Yeah, and Levitt just whispers, sort of mostly to himself, like, you got this, you're going to be all right. But yeah, he's saying it to the kid, but he's also saying it to himself.
Well, I don't want to forget Benet again. So she charges toward this giant slug creature.
And she's got a difficulty upgrade, or?
Oh, yeah, she would, yes. Oh, man, this is going to be a rough one. Ooh, misses, but a triumph. She kind of lets out like a yell as she plunges towards this giant slug. Her pick scrapes across its belly and goo oozes out and around it. But she like readies herself again and sets her shoulders and yells, "Let's finish this!" And I'll give an upgrade to the next person to go. And who will that be?
You have a spare maneuver to step out of the way if I tell her, get back.
Yeah, she'll spend 2 strain to take a couple steps back.
All right, I would like to shoot it with an actual arrow now. I'm running pretty low on magic juice. So short range, and then I can take this purple out, right?
Right, because of its size.
Okay. I will just aim once, not double aim.
Nice.
Hello.
Dang, 15.
So 15 points of damage. That's going to be enough to do this thing in.
I want it to like, I don't know, it kind of goes for Benet, and at that angle I shoot an arrow and it goes through the slugling's head and then right on through and sticks to the rider.
Nice. And the slug, as it writhes in pain from your arrow, tips back and like gooey strands of its mucus rip and slop back against its body as it falls backwards into the sinkhole and begins to shrink as it falls until it's, disappearing into the darkness below, no more than the length of your forearm.
Fuck. Is it down in a pit or whatever? Or is it by the side of the pit?
Oh no, it fell down into the pit.
All right, I look over the edge of the pit and I shoot another arrow into it and recover some strain.
Nice. Yep. So here we are at the end of this combat, combat encounter. Everyone can roll discipline or cool to regain strain. So Levitt, you're holding this boy, and you feel like a vice-like grip around your waist as the girl gives you a hug. She says, "Thank you for saving my brother. I feel like I'll be forever in your debt." And Benet puts a hand on Levitt's shoulder and says, "I agree. We are all in your debt. Thank you all for your help."
It's such a beautiful thing. Now let us get the hell out of here.
Hey, Krot, if you wanted to try doing some healing magic on me, I'll give you a stamina potion or a whatever elixir, magic elixir.
I've got 2 more healing elixirs I can pass. I'll even deign to pass one to Levitt.
Yeah, that'll also work. It's just that I'm at 8 wounds right now.
As the group is settling down from the fight and passing around healing potions, you kind of become aware. At first, it's like when you stand up too quickly and you get those spots before your eyes, but they sort of coalesce into glowing, feathery shapes. And they seem to come from all around.
I'm sorry?
Oh, what in the...
Notching an arrow warily.
And did you drink that potion that I gave you, or?
No, I'm good.
Oh, cool. Oh, I see. You just restored. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and drink that potion then.
So is this your second one of the day?
My stamina potion is the first one of the day. My health potion is the second one if I'm given it.
Okay, so for a second potion, it only heals 4.
Oh, second any potion.
Well, no. Your stamina potion will heal 5 strain, but the health potion
Perfect.
will only
Okay.
heal 4 wounds. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Yep.
There was a potion for Levitt too, if you wanted it.
Did we lose Brim?
I don't know what. Yeah, he's changed his key
I think.
again or something.
So what happened? So what happened is that I selected my push to talk, but then I changed my keyboard because I'd switched to international keyboard for some reason, and that actually changes your push to talk keybind. So I don't know when the last time you were able to hear me was, but
It's been a while, I think.
well, I said a few things. Yeah,
If you were emoting to that kid, we didn't hear it.
Yeah, I said that Levitt started crying, and not like hard, but he just like cried a few tears. And then
that's really sweet.
Warily accepted a healing potion and just kind of silently drank it. Well, I said that he asked if it had poison, but he's too upset to say it. He thought.
But when I pass it to you, there's like a clear like you owe me look.
Yeah. Fair enough. He nods, but still doesn't really say anything because he can't figure out how to press push to talk.
It's those armored gloves, it makes it difficult to.
The problem, glob of earth got your tongue.
Ooh,
that's pretty rude.
Anyway,
so can I roll knowledge lore for these weird lights to see if they're maybe going to hurt us and we should be leaving?
Yes, you may. It is an average difficulty.
Wonderful. Yeah, I think I'm going to recover a strain as I don't know what the hell's going on.
So these lights, they sort of wink into existence around you. The wings are sort of like, almost like little butterflies or moths, but moving much slower. They drift through the air, almost as though they're not really flying, they're more kind of just floating. And slowly one is drifting toward Krot.
All right, I'm not, I'm like standing my ground. I've got an arrow notched, but I'm not like pointed it at the thing or anything, waiting to see what it does.
So it drifts down toward your hand where you hold the bow.
All right, I feel like this might be a bad idea, but I'll hold my hand out, palm up.
Okay, it alights on the surface of your palm, and you hear a voice in your head. Hello.
Hello.
You are fighting the Dark Ones.
Hello.
Hello, Krot?
Yes, these Dark Ones.
What? Dark Ones?
Krot, what are you talking about? I say in an incredibly exhausted voice.
It speaks, and I hold out my hand to show you. You guys, you don't hear it.
I immediately try to touch one.
So as you reach out, one alights on your finger, and you're able to hear the same voice. It says, "They desire destruction."
And you do not?
We are creation.
What would you have us do?
Delanoir, I think we should get out of here.
We bring a warning.
Is the warning that there's giant spiders? Because I mean,
the others that have come to the forest, they bring a great means of destruction. It has excited the Dark Ones.
They bring destruction, but they seek tools of creation.
It's not a distinction that the Dark Ones understand.
Is it one that you understand?
We would rather that the forest not be disturbed.
So, as the trees get felled, more and more creatures awaken to try to fight back.
They agitate the Dark Ones and excite them.
Is there a way to appease the Dark Ones, to put them to sleep?
I don't think this is possible. They seek to control that means of destruction for themselves.
How can we make it known to them what they do?
This is beyond my understanding. I only know that they see a way to wrought destruction outside of the forest bounds.
What is the beauty of creation if there's not a threat of its destruction?
Yes, balance is important, and always there has been balance here. But now a new means of destruction has arrived.
That weird metal bug thing, right?
If they were digging with tools, if they were a burrowing animal, would that not also be destruction?
Yes, but containable, acceptable.
I think I understand. Where do these lights come from?
They are us. Will you stop the ones who have this creation of destruction?
I want to ask Benet if you guys had that rock there, and I point to the large one, would that be enough for you guys to stop the digging for a while?
She looks thoughtful. It's worth a try. The use of the Colossus, it's doing a lot of harm to our clan. Maybe we could convince the Rune Master to turn it off if we could bring the stone to him.
Oh, but it's like big, right?
It probably weighs about 100 pounds.
Oh, okay.
The weird lights say that the Colossus is causing all of these horrible creatures to emerge. Speaking of which, lights, is there anything that you could offer us to assist us?
If you can stop the means of destruction that the Dark Ones seek, we would assist you.
So you can assist us in stopping the means of destruction, perhaps.
We can buoy your effort.
Benet, you want to protect your community. That is what you do. And this Master Rune Maker is putting your community at risk when he actually also wants to lift them up. And we have learned now from these floating lights in the sky that we must stop his Colossus. I am actually kind of worried that they have taken over. The Dark Ones have already they're manipulating him. I'm sure of it. We need to go back. We need to stop him. And I think in the long run, we have to stop the beetle, the giant beetle machine, and the Baron will help with materials for building your town, and we can make it all still work without this giant destruction device. What do you say, Benet?
I'm willing to give it a try.
Well then, shall we go back and confront the Rune Master?
Someone would help me carry this thing.
So the phalite on your palm, it dissolves and like poofs in a little flash, and it's going to try to cast the effect of an augment spell that will last for the rest of the session.
All right.
Wait,
And so that'll be for the two that we're talking to the Fae.
never mind. I think I can carry it on my own.
Nice.
The Fae and Nordros tag team.
Yeah, it's like one of those weird comic book episodes where the two characters you never expect team up.
So Benet says, what were you saying exactly? That these mud creatures are trying to take over the Rune Master?
Well, I don't know about that. I'll let him explain that. But it seemed whatever these things are that are awakening ferns and spiders and stuff, the more you dig, the more of these that will come.
I see.
As you dig up runestones, you're also digging up these creatures.
But more metaphorically, you know.
Yeah, more metaphorically.
Well, we'll have to convince Master Arvik of this. It won't be easy. He's pretty single-minded, but I'm willing to try.
We shall look deeply into his eyes and communicate the threat.
Maybe enough of us together will be able to convince.
Very well. Let's go. And the phalites fade out.
All right.
So the group is picking up that big old stone and making their way back through the woods.
Yep, I'm hucking it.
Nice. Yeah, I think with the bonus, or with the boon that the phalites gave you, yeah, you're able to easily lift that stone on your shoulder. And the group eventually finds their way back to that edge of the cut into the woods that the Colossus has made, and you can hear it continuing its efforts. The claws, the arms grabbing trees and yanking them forth as the shovel head digs into the earth. Louder as you approach, and then you're there before it.
Is there a cockpit to this thing? Or like if Levitt just shouts up, Master Arvik, would he hear me?
He would, yeah. There's an open air control deck at the very top.
So then Levitt will do that.
He peers down over the side. Ah, good. You found the children. Well done.
Yes, but we must speak urgently. Come down at once.
Now, there's still a day's work to be done.
There's no time for that. The threat, the spiders, they're right on our tail.
If we must talk, then you can come up here and speak to me.
But this...
I slammed down the giant Starfall rock.
Zork just slams 100-pound stone on the ground. Yeah, okay.
He sees it and his eyes light up and he says, you found one of the stones. Well done indeed.
Come down here and we can talk about it.
I've got no time. I must continue my work. He motions to some other dwarves.
Well, then, I guess the Baron will be getting his taxes after all, and I pick up the stone again.
Is this like a negotiation? Or?
It kind of feels like it's getting into that. He says, all right, wait. I'll come down. And he begins to make his way down the side of the Colossus. Everyone give me a vigilance check. It is a hard vigilance check.
Dang.
Okay, so no successes, although Krot got 2 advantage and Levitt got 1. So as the master runecrafter makes his way down the ladders that lead from the control deck above, as he nears the bottom, his foot hits the last rung and he stamps onto the ground and turns with a stern look on his face, a bit of annoyance in his expression.
Got him with the starfall.
And then the Colossus lurches to the side. One of the legs comes down toward the Rune Master, who barely manages to dodge out of the way as it slams into the ground next to him. What's this? He says, looking up toward the control deck, just in time to see a dwarf flung from the side.
Uh-oh.
Falls the 30 or 40 feet to the ground and lands with a thump. So let's roll initiative. I think with those 2 threat for Kerr, we'll add a black die to your initiative check. And Krot, you can add a blue with the 2 advantage if you like.
Okay.
And then Levitt still has 1 advantage to spend there.
And I forgot with my vigilance, but because we're augmented Croton, I add a green die to absolutely every roll.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes, that's right.
So I can't spend this advantage to get a blue die on my initiative, or could I?
I think it would take 2 to get a blue die on the initiative check.
Right. Okay. I'll just have the advantage then be that the way we were standing, I was in the front of the party, if that's okay.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. Wow, you guys rolled really well.
I was not expecting another fight.
The giant Colossus, this rune-powered machine, lurches further to the side, and one of its arms swings around and rips a piece of the canopy down as the machine lurches in a tank turn. It's like turning around to head back out the way it came.
Eleanor, I think you might be onto something about someone being controlled already.
I think this would be a good time to instruct the children to run in the opposite direction.
Yeah, they do. They take off back toward the camp.
Which direction is the construct heading?
It's turning around to head back out of the forest up toward the camp.
Okay.
How difficult of an acrobatic check would it be to try to climb up the ladder?
Yes, it would be an athletics check. It'd be an easy check because, the ladders are designed for climbing, but with 1 black die, one setback from the lurching of the machinery.
All right. Whenever I end up going, I'll do that. Does anybody have any actions they'd like to take first?
Nope, I don't think so.
All right. That's athletics, right?
Yes, an easy athletics check with 1 setback.
And 1 extra green for my augment.
Very nice. Yeah, I think you scramble up the side of this thing as your action. And then reach just the edge of this command deck. Looking across it, you don't see anyone up here. But there is, I think, a slight... Well, you have those 2 advantage. If you like, I can give you a little bit of a clue with one of them, or you can spend them however you like.
I will spend... Yeah, if I can spend just 1 on a clue and then the other 1 on strain, I would love to do that.
Okay, so you see that at one end, at the front end of this deck, there are a series of levers and dials and like a chain hanging that can be yanked. And as you're watching, or as you're looking across this deck, you see one of the levers pulled back and the machine lurches forward another step.
All right. And is there anything immediately obvious as a controlling rune?
So with that other advantage, if you'd like.
Sure. I'll replace the strain and use that as the advantages instead.
All right. So set into your eyes as you're seeing this lever operate itself without anyone touching it. You see that there is a glass panel in the bottom of this control structure, and set in is probably about the size of a closed fist. There is one of these bluish black striped stones, marbled stones with a series of runes carved into it.
All right, and that's my action. So
Who would like to go next?
Are you like shouting down? There's nobody controlling the thing or anything.
I doubt I would have the time to do that. I think at this point I'm still getting my bearings up there, so none of you really know.
You forgot about your cold boy.
I think Delanor, I'd like to run around, like if I can move and maneuver around to in front of the sort of, or to be able to see the path in front of the Colossus to make sure nobody's going to get run over or anything like that. Delanor's going to do that.
So kind of like warn people away.
Yeah, just to.
Okay. So are you shouting like clear the way? Or?
Yeah, get out of the way. Get out of the way. It's out of control. Do something about this, Master Arvik. It's your machine.
Yeah, so he is. He looks shocked, and he's now underneath the belly of this thing.
Oh boy!
And he's like ducking and avoiding striking his head on some of the stuff that hangs below.
I want to run in and like dodge the legs and get him out of there. I don't want him to get squished.
All right, yeah. So you're able to run in, I think, with a maneuver, and like if you want to downgrade your action to another maneuver, you can escort him out of there safely.
Sure. Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay. What's going on? He says. I don't understand.
You're asking us?
The machine shouldn't be able to operate on its own. It requires someone at the helm.
It's operating on its own?
The only other runecrafter that was up there is laying dead in the mud. And he points to the dwarf that had fallen from above.
I kind of hear this and yell, "Yes!" down real loud.
Well, can you turn it off?
If I can get back up there, yes. So up on the command platform, something that there, in fact, was something operating the controls, and that now becomes visible to you as it turns and drops its illusion that maintained its invisibility. That was the vigilance roll that no one was able to make earlier. And what you see twists your mind. It is, you've never set eyes on anything like this before. It bears some small resemblance to these creatures you've seen animating the giant spiders and the slug and so on, but it is something unique unto itself. And your mind tries to wrap itself around what your eyes are seeing, and it's having a hard time doing so. So there's a terrify effect that this creature has. It's a hard discipline check.
Discipline. Well, at least I get an extra green die for being augment, because I'm going to need.
Yeah, those face sprites are bros.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a failure with the threat means you'll have to spend your next turn fleeing from this thing.
Not ideal.
So the Terrify is a passive ability. So for its action, it is going to cast a spell. So you're at medium range. A power projects out of it and swings down toward you, attempting to slap you backwards.
That seems bad.
Okay, so this would be 8 points of damage minus your soak.
That'll be 6 damage.
And it has the manipulative quality, so for one advantage, it can move you a range band.
Oh no.
So I'm trying to think how this would work. I think in order to sort of like tear you free from because essentially it's trying to push you out in a way. But in order to tear you free from the structure, you would get an opportunity to like hold on and not be torn free since you're like grasping this ladder. So that would be, I think it would be a hard athletics or coordination check to avoid being ripped off the ladder.
I'm going to go ahead and do the coordination check, and yeah, I'm going to flip a story point for that one.
I'll use my ready for anything ability and turn one of those GM points into a story point for us.
Nice. Ooh. So, Kerr, I think you get flung end over end off the top of this structure.
Can one of us try and catch him or anything?
Let's see, who hasn't gone in the round?
That would be me, and I will definitely try and catch him when I see him flying up the thing.
All right, so I think if you want to spend. Let's see. Well, you are the last to go, and you're the next to go. So
okay.
Go ahead.
So,
what are you going to say?
Okay, so we have 2 story points, right?
3 or 2.
Okay, so I know this isn't technically how my heroic ability works, but what if I retroactively ask you, is Care going to be thrown off this thing? And you tell me yes. Well, here's what I'll say. If I make the roll and I fail it, can I re-roll it by using my heroic ability and have
I
that?
think you can.
be the
Yes,
thing?
you can activate a heroic ability as a incidental unless it otherwise states it. So okay, so let's put it this way. Since you're the next one to go and your buddy's falling from above, I think it's fair to give you a chance to like absorb some of that, like catch him basically.
Yeah, that's the goal.
So, but Care would automatically get a average athletics or coordination check to try to absorb some of that damage. So for every success, you can reduce so it's 10 points of damage and 10 points of strain for a fall from short range. Every success reduces the damage by 1. Every advantage reduces the strain by 1. And then the damage can also be soaked. And then you also have 2 advantage there. Then I think if you want to try to catch him, Levitt can make those same rolls and it would apply the same effect.
Okay.
All right. Well, I guess I'll roll first.
It's not going to do a lot. So what kind of roll am I making? It's athletics?
Yeah, but you'll both be making either an average athletics or coordination check.
Okay.
Your choice. And then, Care, you also have 2 advantage to spend there.
I'm going to use my 2 advantage to try to fall in a predictable trajectory. Hopefully adding a blue die
to Levitt's check?
Yes, as he tries to catch me.
Okay. So yeah, you can do that. So Levitt, you'll make that roll with a blue die.
Yikes.
Oof.
Okay, well, respect.
No.
Oh my god. Okay, well, I mean, yeah, I'd love to re-roll it, but truly it makes almost no difference because there's no way I could roll enough successes to keep him from going unconscious. So as much as I kind of love the idea of the fact that I have the premonition that he's going to fall off this thing, I don't actually see how me doing that will mechanically affect the...
Right.
So
what, Curry, you were at 10 of 11, so this would, and your soak is...
With that much advantage, could Levitt, break the fall and take some of the damage or something?
Oh, I'm knocked out anyways.
Okay. Oh, you're at 10 out of 11 before the fall.
How does it work? Yeah, 10 out of 11 before the fall. So how does it work, him taking damage exceeding his wounds threshold? He'll get knocked out, but...
Yeah, he'd be at 20 of 11 and would take a critical injury.
Yeah. If I did heal with Revive Incapacitated, does that bring him back immediately below his wound threshold? And then...
Unfortunately, no. It just heals wounds.
But the Revive Incapacitated...
Yeah, so you have to add that effect to even affect somebody who's been incapacitated.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Wow.
And so then how does it work with, if he was at 100 of 11, would that have any different effect? Would that actually be
You stop tracking at double your
and you
thing.
Just die instantly?
No, you don't. You just stop tracking there.
Okay.
You pretty much only die if the GM says you die or if you rolled a critical injury that kills you.
Cool.
Yeah. And I guess that would just make it harder for people to heal you or make it take longer for you to heal naturally.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. But you guys did together absorb 5 of those strain. So it would have only been 5 strain and then 10 additional wounds. And so you'll take a critical for going over your wound threshold? Hey, not too bad.
Yeah, he's distracted.
Being knocked unconscious by falling from a 2-story building is a bit distracting.
You guys have just seen your friend Kerr blown from the top.
So that was my full action?
Well, you can take maneuvers if you'd like.
Yeah. I guess I probably should. Although I don't know what I'm gonna do. I guess just call it to Krot to come help. I don't know what's happened, but he flew off the top of the thing. Help! I guess is Krot. Where did Krot? Oh, Krot went and ran and got the...
I got the dude out from under.
The dude out from under, so you're not even really that nearby. Yeah, I'll just stick... Yeah, we'll go back to the initiative.
Okay. So who would like to go first in this round?
I'm not sure I'll really be able to heal you in any appreciable amount of time. Because it's going to be 3 purples to heal you. It's 1 wound per uncancelled success. And I would need to get 9 to get you under.
Yeah, I think I'm just out for this battle.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I think we're better off taking this thing out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I do have a heal on my turn. I can toss a healing elixir at Levitt to give to you. So that'll be 3, right?
Yeah, but that's
Something.
But I could heal you too.
Yep, he might.
Yeah, I think focusing on.
And there's also Master.
I mean, I guess I'm technically unconscious, so
I'll. Would it be an action for me to toss the healing elixir to Levitt?
No, that'd just be a maneuver.
So I don't think I don't know if I could maneuver because I was kind of running around to the front. If I was to take this slot, I could. What I was thinking about was running to the ladder, tossing the healing elixir to Levitt at the same time, and then getting as far up the ladder as possible up to the top. See if I can do anything.
And so now that the machine has been set on a steady pace again, it won't require an action to climb, just a maneuver to climb to the top.
Okay, so I'll have to spend 2 strain to do the second maneuver to get up to the top.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh no, wait, that's 3 maneuvers, is it? Or 1 maneuver?
Yeah, 1 to move to the base of the ladder, 1 to throw the potion, and then it would be a third maneuver.
Yeah. So I'll just
Really carefully focus on throwing the potion. It could be an action instead of a maneuver.
Try to break it on his face so that it goes.
It's efficient right there.
Right, yeah, taking my action, maneuver to the bottom of the stairs, I run there, and then I use my action to throw the healing elixir at Levitt, and then the second maneuver to go up the top. Although maybe it's safer if I just stay at the bottom.
Yeah, maybe.
I'll just.
Pretty sure you just saw.
It seems like it's reading manipulative. They only need to spend a single advantage to move you a ranged band. So I think it's going to be pretty hard for us to deal with this thing. I guess if we all go up on the same turn, then you can only throw one of us off.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. I mean, only one of us. So, yeah.
Okay, I'll 1 maneuver to the bottom of the stairs, and then I'll use the second maneuver to throw use an action, and I'll just do that. I won't spend the 2 strain to do a second maneuver.
Okay.
I have my sword out, and that's it. So you have the elixir now, Levitt?
Yeah, I guess I should go since I was just throwing a health pot. So, all right, let's see. I would have to get 5 successes to bring him back to 11 plus the 3. So that would be pretty.
If you get him, to like 2 or 3 remaining over, then it's probably worth it for me to also come over and try and heal him.
He's getting the full pantheon of healing. Yeah, okay. So can I use my maneuver to feed him the healing potion and then...
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And then so it'd be a hard difficulty, the magic check.
Yeah, just going to go ahead and use that.
Sure.
Nice.
Well, 3 successes.
Very cool.
Okay, so
that's 3 more wounds off?
3 more wounds off, plus the 3 from the pot, so you're up 6. And this is like the most successful healing spell he's done so far this mission. There's like huge gusts of flame coming off of Kara's body and burning Levitt, I assume, but he doesn't care.
So with those 2 threat, I'm going to say that all the magic you're using today, it's more than you've ever really done at one time before. And it's creating this resonance within your body. So until the end of this encounter, enemy spellcasters add a blue die when casting a spell that targets you.
Yeah, that seems very, very fair.
Okay, so we have another PC slot.
All right, I think I will also run over and heal him unless someone has... Oh, I guess I'm the last one, right? Because the last PC slot is Care.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Okay, then I will run over and... How many maneuvers is that?
You're just short range, so maneuvering within short is just 1 maneuver.
Okay, then I will take the 2 strain to cast the spell. 3 purples still. This is not bad odds. Do you want me to flip the story point, or you guys want me to save it? I think we probably want to get him up, right?
Yeah.
I'm doing it.
Give me
Doom's
all
at
the
hand now, yeah. Oh my god. The
Holy
heals.
crap.
The heals are just not working for me.
That's so brutal.
Oh man. It's just too hot. There's just too much fire
Yeah.
magic going on. I can't heal
Yeah.
him with my
It
ice.
really,
Too
it
much
just
fire.
did not work out. It was a collision of deities.
Yeah, should have known.
But 4 advantage, though.
Okay, I want to like notice something critical about the Colossus, and I want to tell Arvik like possibly some way to slow it down or disable it or something from down here, and tell Arvik to like get that thing slowed or stopped.
Yeah. What do you think?
I don't know, like a particularly exposed gear, or if the legs have like runes that we could scratch out or something.
Yeah, how about, so the legs, as they fit into the side of the Colossus, there's gaps there where you can kind of see into the inner workings, these massive gears.
Okay.
And yeah, so what would it take to like hobble this thing? Like probably a mechanics check, right?
Called shot maneuvers or
Oh
mechanics
yeah,
check or
called
something?
shot. Yeah, either one of those. Yeah, called shot or like an average mechanics check would render this thing like immobile.
Okay, sure. How many of my advantages does that take?
2.
Feels fairly impactful. Okay.
Yeah, I think 2.
I mean, oops, I can't take 2. I'm going to take 1 strain, and I'll pass a boost to the next person to go, and I'll tell everyone what I saw. Like, I think we can slow it down from down here. It's got all kinds of gears and stuff inside.
Excellent. Good eyes.
Yeah, it's just too bad I can't do anything for Kara here.
So this amorphous, mind-bending creature comes to the edge of the control platform above. I don't know if anyone's specifically looking up there right now, so I won't require a terrify check from anyone. It might be out of range anyway. But it draws back a weapon in its hand and fires a bolt of raw energy of the Anlong down toward...
Guy's so rude. Can he not just revel in his victory up there?
toward the Master Runecrafter. From that height, I think I said before I was short. So a bolt hits the Master Runecrafter in the shoulder. He cries out and falls to one knee. Do you guys have a threat to spend?
Can we give a boost to what Arvik does? Or I guess probably that's not enough to do that.
You could inflict a strain or...
Black die? Can it take a black die from that? Or is that 2 threats?
2 threat for a black die.
I want him to fall off. It's not going to happen for 1 threat, but that's what I want. Yeah, I guess let's give him a strain.
I just muttered that we should banish him back to the Anlong for 1 threat. That sounds great.
Okay, it's a PC slot, top of the round.
I'm not necessarily taking my turn, but I am yelling at Arvik. I didn't pull you out of there so you could go down now. Figure out a way to turn this off.
There's the panel at the top where the rune is. If you can strike it, you can shut it down.
That's not an option.
Do I have to do everything? Okay.
I mean, that's what I was trying to do, and you see how well that ended for me.
Yeah. What is this, the turn where we all go up? Maybe
Could I, just thinking about the machine, is it facing away from us right now? Or like, could we...
Yeah, you're along the side of the machine.
Could we, if we hit it so in those weak points in its legs, could it crumple such that we're easily able to jump into the cockpit without having to climb up the ladder and stuff?
Yeah, I mean that sounds like the kind of thing that a triumph or a multiple advantage would do.
Right. Okay.
On the check to bring it still, but it is just one maneuver to reach the top, to climb the ladder.
It's just one maneuver to get up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is also a way to disable it from down here.
Yeah.
Right.
Like to stop it from moving. But one of us could do that while another goes up.
Yeah. Although I think more than one of us should go up because someone's most likely getting thrown off.
Well, but if we maneuver up, that's just one maneuver. There's another maneuver I could maneuver to engage with the Fae.
That's true.
And then immediately attack it as long as I spend 2 strain. And then if it tried to move me, it would only be able to move me to short, so it couldn't throw me off.
Unless it disengages and then throws you off.
That's a good point. I wonder how smart it is.
Well, it's figured out how to work this thing.
That's true. It's probably smart enough to be able to figure out how to throw me off. Yeah. But if it disengaged, would I get an attack on it?
No, this isn't Dungeons and Dragons, my
Dang
friend.
it. All right. Well, oh, damn. You know what? I could probably take 10 wounds, 10 strain. I do soak 5 of it. Yeah, Levitt, I think just...
You could do it twice.
Yeah, I could. He looks back and forth at the remaining 2 members of his party, and he just shakes his head. Yes, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. And he charges at the Colossus, and he tries to run up the ladder, and then he gets to the top, and he sees the thing, and he makes a fear check. No.
Yeah, yes, that's true.
Ooh.
Yep, a discipline check, hard.
Okay, that's good. Levitt's good at discipline.
Nice.
Nice.
Okay, I succeeded with threats.
Yeah, so we'll have those 2 threats just translate directly into strain as your mind tries to make sense of this weird creature you're seeing. And it's like, you know that what you're seeing is only what your brain can make sense of. So
Yeah, it's like
it's like looking at pure chaos, you know?
Yeah, right. Yeah. And so he pauses at the top. As soon as he sees it, he's like, ugh, what the hell? But then he holds steadfast and charges up at it and, foul beast, I'll take you down. And he spends 2 more strain to maneuver to it and then tries to impale it with his massive halberd. So it will be... Oh, yeah, right. It has adversary 2 and melee defense 1. Good God.
Oh, you can ignore it. You can take away the melee defense because the weapon it's holding changes shape, and currently it's in a bow form.
Interesting.
Oh, okay, right. That's how it shot that thing before, I guess. This is like Levitt's whole purpose right here. Like, this is what he lives for. Or that's what he says anyway. But he still fails.
Wait, is this when you can reroll? Oh, no, you can't spend... There's no more story points.
There's no more story points. This is why I said there's only 2 more. Oh. Yeah. The funniest part is that this entire session, I have been trying to find a time where I failed a roll, and I have yet to fail a significant roll. Like, literally, yeah. And you guys have, especially Crot, kept failing on these
I've yet
rolls,
to succeed a heal check.
Yeah, I know. Oh, God, brutal. Okay, well, can those 2 advantages be something to do with me smashing up the control panel?
So yes, I think we can, because well, you can't disable the
not
Colossus
just totally
yet.
it. No,
right? But so your blow goes past this creature and slams into the control panel, maybe, and knocks open the filigrade casing around this stone, exposing it.
Yeah, sure. So it'll be easier for whoever wants to stop it from functioning.
Like, say, add a boost dice to anyone that wants to get in there and stop it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. PC slot is next. Who's going to join Levitt up there?
You want to head up there, Delanar? I just keep looking at 12 out of 11 wounds and thinking I really ought to be here healing.
Yep. All right. Yep. I'm going up. Delanor's at the bottom there. He hears Levitt screaming and shakes his head as he runs up the ladder. And so I guess 1 maneuver to get to the top, and then another maneuver.
Yes, 1 to get to the top of the ladder and another 1 to get engaged. There's also the potential of disabling the Colossus by attacking that stone.
Yeah.
You'll get a blue die.
That's what I should do. Okay, so I need to make a fear check.
Oh, yes, you do. A discipline check, 3 difficulty. Ooh.
Run away!
Well, failure with advantage can lead to an adrenaline surge, which actually gives you a blue die on your next check, but then disorients you for the rest of the combat.
Which is disorient is a black die, right?
Right. So you'll get a blue die this round and then a black die for the rest of the combat. And
that's instead of having to run away from the thing? Or...
Yeah, fleeing in terror would be failure with threat.
Okay, cool.
Wow,
okay. All right. Well, I freak out a little bit and then try and stab the rune thing as I run past it, I guess.
Avert your gaze from the Eldritch horror next to you.
And so I'm making a sword attack at the rune.
Yeah.
Control.
It'll be an average check.
Oh my god!
A whiff.
Okay. Whiffed on it. Yeah. Oh, a blue die. Wait. I need a two blue die.
Yeah. 2 blue
Two
dice.
blue dice.
It's possible.
One
It's
from-
possible.
Drum roll.
Whoa!
yeah, for the blue die.
Perfect.
I don't know if I've ever seen that happen before. When
I
the blue
know.
die
Usually
actually
the
comes through.
the forgotten blue die just come up blank and are so disappointing.
All right. So you ended up with 1 success and 1 advantage. So the success will knock loose this runestone. It pops free from the housing and bounces onto the deck. The Colossus immediately lurches to a stop, and a horrible screech comes from that fey creature. What do you want to do with the advantage?
I will pass a blue die to Krot, who must somehow he understands. Oh, the thing lurches, and he's feels emboldened, like he can cast a
we're
healing spell.
doing it, guys. We're doing it.
Never cast a spell before.
It's just so hard, when your magic comes from like Nordros to use it to heal someone.
He's a fickle god.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Primal, extra green, past dice, hard check. Anything else going on?
Not on my end.
All right. There we go.
Oh.
Oh,
Sweet.
threats.
Yeah, you succeed, but Nodros is still mad at you.
Heal, damn it.
So 3 threat. Let's see here. Some of this stuff is so cruel.
Why stop now, Ryle?
Nothing's crueler than
Boy.
fall damage.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so here's what I'm actually going to have happen with that threat.
Okay.
In addition to that threat, I'm going to spend 3 GM story points. And when that runestone popped loose, it removed the power from the Colossus. But all the gears and machinery inside are still working. And so they grind together, and you hear a horrid wrenching noise from inside the machine. Coupled with the magical energy released by Krot on his healing spell, cause the side of it to explode outward, shattering and sending metal and wood flying through the air to impact against the trees beside the Colossus. The whole thing lurches sideways. The deck that everyone's standing on above like tilts dramatically, and you hear another internal explosion. And it's clear this whole thing is about to go.
Well, the true
Oh,
thing gets
damn.
back now.
But this the Fae goes first.
With my maneuvers, can I get Care out of the way? He's like probably conscious and like looking around or something, and I'm like, no time, let's go, and I'm just like dragging him basically.
Yeah. So what, your healing magic looks like a coat of frost comes across, and then
Yeah, like a frost cast kind of, and then when it disappears, they're hopefully healed.
so just barely back to consciousness. Care looks up to see that frost climb up the side of the Colossus and cracks form and then explode outward. So, Care, I don't know how you feel about this, but you're being drug away.
I'm feeling like away is the correct direction.
So, surprising everyone, the Fey creature takes flight. It moves up to long range, which I just recently discovered flying creatures can do with 1 maneuver.
Oh, yeah, I remember that thread.
And then it's going to scream in anger as its plans were thwarted. And then I'll spend another story point to have it cast an invisibility spell and vanish, rather than making a roll and all that fun stuff. But you guys have to get off the top of this Colossus as it collapses in on itself. And I think that's going to require a hard coordination check to climb down before this thing explodes.
Here we go. Levitt and Dell.
Can I voluntarily take the fall damage to not have the chance of being in it when it explodes?
Yes.
Okay.
Just jump.
I suck at coordination, so yeah.
So you can, as you jump, you can make an athletics check to absorb some of the damage as you hit.
Yeah, okay. I will do that then, because I think that's a better idea.
All right, so it's an average athletics check.
Okay.
Great belly flopping.
Tuck and roll, baby. Nice.
The amazing part of this is I take 10 strain.
Yeah, 10 strain and only 8 damage minus your soak.
Oh, minus soak. Thank goodness. Okay.
But the strain doesn't get soaked, unfortunately.
Strain doesn't get soaked.
No.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm unconscious.
So Levitt hits the ground hard, but out of the perimeter of the explosion.
Yeah.
Oh, and Delanor slides down the ladder. What does this look like? So 2 threat. You'll take 2 strain there.
It's frost damage. It's like the cold from the frost. And actually that's what he's just sliding on the frost off this thing, and then at the last second he times it just perfectly to jump off the bottom of the thing as if is it falling over or something like that, and then
it's like collapsing in on itself and exploding outward.
Yeah.
And with that huge gout of flame, like rocketing pieces of metal and gears high arching over the trees tops of the Starfall Forest and down into through the canopy to the ferns beyond. Huge legs from the Colossus collapsing outward, slamming into the earth, sending up gouts of dirt and roots up into the air. Our heroes somehow manage to avoid the worst of it, either diving and curling away to avoid it, or just laying unconscious in the turf. But they survive the explosion of the Colossus. And as the dust settles and the smoke clears, you see the Master Runecrafter hugged tightly to a large blue and black stone.
And we can recover strain now.
It's like priorities.
Oh my god, that was crazy.
And it's really heartwarming, so we get a boost, right?
Yeah. It's
Absolutely.
All I have to say is that I don't think that the Baron is going to be very happy with our report.
So about those taxes. Well, once again, thank you guys for playing. Have a good night, everybody.